Steelers, consider others before you consider yourself. To protect your brother, even from himself. To give support at your own expense. And when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the SteelTwins.
Steeler Nation, thank you guys once again for tuning in for yet another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. This episode is brought to you by and powered by our great friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and we are here to talk about the rematch between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. 2 weeks ago, the Browns were able to pull off a big upset against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cleveland, but this go around, it is in Pittsburgh, it is in Heinz Field, and the Steelers are looking to redeem themselves against this Browns team. As a matter of fact, this is the fourth and final AFC North battle for the Steelers in the last month before they got the Eagles next week. I say that with a little bit of concern and interest and intrigue, but first we got to get to the Cleveland Browns. I am still pissed off that they beat us 2 weeks ago on Thursday. It still sits a bad feeling in my stomach, still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I'm just not okay with it. I don't sit well with it. I think the Steelers should be sitting right now with 7 straight wins. They very well could, because that last Browns game wasn't a good game by the Steelers in any sense of the word. A lot of bad went wrong. We'll talk about it, of course, and where they got to improve and where they will probably improve, because it seems like that was the wake-up call, seeing what happened last week versus the Bengals. Oh, yeah. But man, they could really be sitting at 7 wins right now if they just maintained the lead when they got the lead back, or when they got a lead versus the Browns in that game 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because, I mean, yeah, they were down, what was it? I think it was 16-9 or something like that. It was 18-6, I think. 18-6, that's what it was. You're right. But it was 18-6, and they made a comeback in the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, and they unfortunately let the win go from their grasp. But I'm not going to reflect too much on it, because I feel like that was a blessing in disguise. Thus is what resulted in last week's powerful victory versus the Cincinnati Bengals, which felt very good, because that was some of the more dominant victories offensively, for sure, that we've seen in a hot minute. Yeah, a shootout. A shootout. Something you don't see from the Steelers in general.
A shootout for sure, and a matchup that saw the Steelers play all 60 minutes of football offensively. When was the last time that ever happened? Couldn't tell you.
2018 against the Panthers, really.
Probably. I mean, we could reflect to that game in a lot of ways, but that's probably the most recent in that example, along with the fact that they put up 500 yards of total offense, 37 offensive points, and they were just on fire. And now they're going to have to maintain that momentum and bring that right back home against the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have not beaten the Steelers in the regular season specifically since 2003. And in fact, they haven't swept us since, what, the 80s?
1988.
To be exact.
1988. It's been a long minute for the Cleveland Browns, and I know that that's going to be their motivation. Coming into enemy territory at Heinz Field, they're going to want to try their damnedest to sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers and rain on their parade, considering the Steelers sit atop of the AFC North as the Ravens are on a bye week. So, considering that the Steelers are going to want to continue to add wins to their win column and just continue that streak of the AFC North that they're going on right now. The Browns, man, like right now, I mean, they're 3-9. They don't really have a lot left to go with when it comes to this season. They're going to have a losing record. They're essentially going to be eliminated from playoff contention real soon.
And hopefully that's Sunday, because officially Sunday, if they lose, they would be eliminated from playoff contention. So that's some motivation, as well as just maintaining more victories as the Ravens, like you said, are on a bye.
Yeah.
And just to get the win back, because I cannot envision the Browns sweeping us. Never seen it in my lifetime, and I'm not ready for it. And I don't think it's going to happen. You know, we're going to talk about a lot in this game. We're going to talk about a lot in regards to the Steelers, but I do not envision the Steelers losing this game. I would hope not. And I hope I don't jinx the team by saying it. I just don't see how the Steelers lose this game. I think they understand the importance and a lot of factors, and I think they've humbled themselves from the last loss versus the Browns. I think they're going to come in a lot more prepared, a lot more energized for this one. So I'm very excited for it. But we want to thank you guys for joining us on another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast. Appreciate you guys on this Friday night. Hope you guys had a great week so far, the first week of December, really. So hope you guys start off the Christmas season very strong. So happy holidays to you guys. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, I'm all excited for Sunday. I'm all excited. I'm all ready for that game. You know, I went into the Ravens game feeling a certain way. I went into last week's Bengals game feeling the exact same way. And I found myself going into this Browns game feeling the exact same way. I just want a victory. I don't like this team. I'm very mad about the loss a couple weeks ago. I want to win back. I want to end their season officially. I'm going in with full hatred. I'm going in with a full hope of dominance and a killer instinct that I'm hoping the Steelers can embody once again this season, because they've shown that many times this year, especially last week. So, well, that's a very interesting thing to look forward to for this game, man. But thank you guys for tuning in. There is a poll in the chat. Who will have more sacks in this game? TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, or the returning Alex Highsmith?
Highsmith will be back.
He will be back. Not only will he be back, Nick Herbig will be playing backup, which is, I mean, there's no complaints from anybody, because him as a backup is such a incredible depth piece, along with Preston Smith. And fun fact, before we get into anything else, Preston Smith, he's been added to this edge group, and he's going to be a very nice third, fourth piece, right? I hope he gets some significant playing time, even though Highsmith will be back. But Watt, Highsmith, and Herbig have only played, if I'm correct, 3 games all season. That's the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The Steelers have only had those 3 guys on the same team, or healthy in the same game 3 times this year, and that was the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Now seeing what happened the last Steelers-Browns game, where they only got 1 sack from Herbig, now they're going to have all those 3 back with Preston Smith. I think that's a huge add for this defense.
Now the fun fact, Steelers are undefeated when Alex Highsmith is active and playing.
I did not know that.
Yes, they are 6-0 when Highsmith is playing.
I did not know that. It's going to be really good to get Highsmith back for sure, especially seeing how, you know, the Browns' offensive tackles are still pretty bare, and they're still dealing with injuries, and I think it's a great way to attack that, especially seeing what Jameis Winston did, and essentially costing the Browns a victory last week versus the Broncos. So we're going to talk about all that, but I want to thank you guys for joining us as always. A huge shout out to the sponsor of this live stream. Shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this NFL season. You look at the Steelers versus Browns odds, man. The Steelers, this is a little surprising to me. They are incredibly heavy favorites. You see that money line, first of all, that's a large margin. And then you see the point spread. They are 7-point favorites.
7 point. Well, considering on the shootout that they had against Cincinnati and the fashion that they won, and though Cleveland were also in a shootout on Monday Night Football against Denver, that was a pretty good game watching on Monday night.
Right.
But, it goes to show, just how dominant and how high fired up the offense of the Steelers has been or was in Cincinnati. So I'm not really surprised by that.
I find it surprising because the Browns, they did upset the Ravens a couple weeks back, and they did upset us just 2 weeks. So, that point spread's interesting. But if you feel very confident the Steelers can get a nice one-score victory or potentially even a blowout victory versus the Browns, which is always a good time, feel free to take that point spread, man. Even the over-under is only 42. I feel very confident that could be the over. So we'll see what happens, man. But huge shout out to BetUS, man. As you guys know, they got all the Week 14 betting lines for all of Week 14. They got every single money line, all the point spreads, over-unders, and all that for all the Week 14 games. We actually got a pretty decent stretch of games this week. Seahawks and Cardinals, that's going to be very, very interesting seeing where they're going to lie in that division. Bills and Rams is going to be a very interesting game. We got the Chargers and Chiefs on Sunday night. Bears and Niners. A lot of good football here, man. But in regards to the Steelers and Browns, man, again, you see the money line, you see the point spread and all that. Feel free in taking any of that. If you like any of these odds or you guys want to mix match anything into a parlay, feel free to do so. BetUS.com has you covered if you guys are looking for a new sportsbook this season, and they got you covered on a great 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today. So huge shout out to BetUS. Take advantage of those perks from our great friends over there. Just please gamble responsibly.
And huge shout out to our buddy of ours who is a Browns fan and Browns content creator, Unger to the Max.
Yeah, Rob was actually on his live stream. I believe it was just yesterday.
Yes, it was.
And they had a very, very good discussion regarding the Steelers and Browns history in this week. So if you guys want to go tune into that, huge shout out to Unger to the Max. Go sub to his channel, man. Just in the search engine, search up Unger to the Max. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. Sub him up and go check it out, man. So huge shout out to him as a Browns fan for sure. And the Browns. So 2 weeks ago, they beat us. And I'm still feeling very ill about it. I'm very angry about it. I kind of got over it after the Bengals victory and how dominant of an offensive performance it was. But now that we're looking into the Browns again, just literally 2 weeks later, it's just coming back to me. I look back at that game and I see the mistakes the Steelers made. I see that the offense was just awful in the red zone and they barely even got down there and they couldn't get points on the board mostly. And I really think that they got a little too aggressive when they could have just played smart. They could have played very, I don't want to say conservative, but just safe in a sense. And, I feel like they got a little too over their head and I feel like it cost them. And, of course, Mike Tomlin's game management and his timeouts and the whole penalty situation and everything that happened in the last 5 minutes of that game was just a bit of a circus.
No, it was very head-scratching. I completely put that loss on coaching entirely. I don't think it was the weather that affected them or whatnot.
Shout out to Icy Rhodes. Icy Rhodes with a 1999. Appreciate you as always, brother. Says I won't be able to watch this game Sunday because I have to do military training, so mad love y'all streaming it on Sunday. Dan, if we start losing instead of swapping hats, just stack them. That's a great idea. I didn't think about that. Yeah, if the swapping hats doesn't work, I'm gonna just stack them into a pile. So every time a mistake happens, I'm gonna just keep stacking hats.
I got plenty of hats still, like in my collection. I will just stack those hats on top of your hats.
There's so many hats that we have.
It's actually ridiculous. It's not all Steelers either. Like it's like various like Pittsburgh stuff. So it's like
it's astronomical.
It would be a tower. So it's not a bad idea. Shout out to Icy Rhodes, man.
Yeah, appreciate you.
And best of luck to you, man.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations on the military training and best of luck to you, man. So by the way, we appreciate you for your service. So shout out to you, man. Thanks a lot as always. But yeah, that loss, is just you blame a lot on coaching for sure because Arthur Smith didn't have his best game. Mike Tomlin and his clock management wasn't the best. And then the defense allowing a perfect 4 for 4 on fourth downs. And just the secondary hasn't played great in the last number of weeks. So you look at that and you look at this Browns game now, you want to go in and still treat the Browns as a threat. The Browns aren't going to be anything for the rest of the season. They're definitely not making the playoffs, obviously. The Steelers have a great chance of officially eliminating them from playoff contention, so that would be a great way to kind of just put the dagger into their season, even though their season's already over. But the fact that they've already spoiled the Ravens in a sense, they spoiled us just 2 weeks ago. The Browns still have something to fight for.
Yeah, and I would say the only thing, and I brought this up to Unger to the max, and he actually agreed with me. I would say that the only thing left that the Browns have left fighting for is to play spoiler when it comes to the AFC North division.
That's exactly what they're fighting
because,
for.
They took the Bengals to the limit when they first played them. They lost that matchup, but then they pulled off 2 upsets against the Ravens and the Steelers when they were on winning streaks and they were atop of the division.
Right.
They still have the Steelers coming up and then the Ravens and the Bengals again. And we know that the Ravens, they're going to want to try to play catch up, coming off a bye, going to try to stack wins and get a decent playoff spot. And the Bengals, they got to obviously win the rest of their games if they want to make a final push for a playoff spot.
That's not happening.
Nonetheless, I bring that up because the Browns, they're in the basement of the AFC North. They basically are only fighting. The only thing they're fighting for is to play spoilers, to rain on the rest of the division's parade. Just to ruin their seasons.
And seeing how they, again, beat the Ravens and then they beat the Steelers 2 weeks ago, the Steelers have to go into this treating them like a threat. Like, they're trying to spoil us, man. We're on our high horse right now. Again, after losing to them, we had probably one of our better performances all season. We're back on that high horse. We're back in the win column. Let's keep going on that streak. The Browns are going to try to knock us off it again.
Yeah, and if there's one thing I'll give credit to the Browns is that they will take the division to the limit.
Sure.
They will play them very competitively. They've had for a couple number of years, but, especially this season, they will take this division to the limit. They will be very competitive, and it will be a down-to-the-wire type of football. As always, there is no other type of football unlike AFC North football. It's the best type of football that you could tune in and watch.
Right, absolutely.
And the Browns are in that category of hey, this could be a good game because they can take the division to the limit.
They could. And the thing with this game is the Steelers, like I said, they can't go in underestimating them like they did last time because it's without question they underestimated the Browns just a little bit on that Thursday night game. I don't think they're going to do the same thing this week because they at that point on that Thursday night game they won 5 straight and they were handling business. And typically when they keep winning, they don't think that there's many issues with the team because as long as they keep winning, they're doing what they have to do at the end of the day. That loss humbled them, which is why we got what we got last week versus the Bengals, which is why we got an increase in a lot from coaching and player execution and just a widespread of other things versus the Bengals. They're going into this. I generally feel that the Steelers are going into this Browns game feeling a lot different than they did 2 weeks ago because now they definitely can't underestimate them because they've already upset them. And the Steelers, they understand how important this is because they're still at the top. The Ravens are on a bye. This is another must-win. I mean, as the season continues to progress and as this regular season comes to a close shortly, every game is really must-win, but especially in the AFC North. And I look at it this way. The Browns, they've already beat the Ravens and they've already beat the Steelers. There's a chance, there's a chance that at the end of the season, the Browns could end up sweeping the Ravens. I don't think it happens, but there's a chance. The Browns can't sweep the Steelers and then the Ravens get their win back versus the Browns in Week 18. So the Steelers splitting with the Browns and the Browns potentially sweeping the Ravens would give them all that ahead of the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Just want to put that out there. I know that's Week 18 ahead, but it's still one of those things that could come into effect later on. So they got to get a win versus the Browns for that factor. They got to remain at the top of the AFC North. They got to stack as many wins as they can. And again, I think last week was, the game where the team showed we were on a 5-game win streak, but we underestimated, we lost to the Browns. And then we saw the improvements in a lot of areas last week. The O-line, coordinator play, personnel usage in a lot of areas, spreading the ball around, Russell Wilson cooking in every aspect whatsoever. Just a lot of good, right? I think they're going to go into this game with a similar mindset. They're not going to go in sleeping on the Browns. They're not going to go in underestimating them. They're going to go in wanting revenge. They're going to go in for blood. They're going to go in looking to get a win back, especially at home. At home, I mean, this is a prime spot for the Steelers right now.
Of course. And, when it comes to this upcoming week with the Browns, because after this matchup, I don't want to look ahead because we got to get past the Browns. But
Yeah.
I do want to mention this because after the Browns game, then starts the stretch of 3 games in a span of 10 days.
Yes, so this is...
Which would be Philly, Baltimore come Saturday, December 21st, and of course Kansas City come Christmas Day. So 3 games within a span of 10 days. And this is where, when it comes to this Browns game, this is where it's another must win because when you look at those 3 games in that 10-day stretch, how many wins are the Steelers really going to be able to garner or going to escape with?
I don't know because it's probably the toughest stretch of a schedule or the toughest 3-game stretch that any team will have to endure this season because the NFL just unfortunately handed the Steelers that schedule.
Yeah.
But the positive of that, again, we don't want to look ahead, but the positive of that is they are getting as healthy as they probably will ever be all season.
Yeah.
They just got Corey Trice back from IR. They activated him from IR. That is huge. Huge. They're getting Alex Highsmith back for this game. Huge.
That's a big plus.
You got both your edge depth guys who very well could start for this team at any week if they have to. They're healthy. Our defensive line, Hayward, healthy. Benton, healthy. Ogunjobi, healthy. Our linebackers, fully healthy. Our secondary, questionable, but fully healthy.
Yeah.
Like that's the best scenario the Steelers could be, or that's the best scenario they could have right now because...
And that goes for the offense. Like the whole team, for the most part, is intact.
Yeah.
It is intact. It is healthy. And this late into the season, number of previous seasons, they were never this healthy.
No, they dealt,
at all.
They dealt with so many injuries in so many areas, especially on the defense. But, I think it's significant that they are as healthy as they are. They got to escape this Browns game as healthy as they can be. But, I think that's a thing that's going to be, massive for this team as we endure that. But especially for this game with the fact that Trice is back, and I'm hoping he plays. Because I think we're going to need him in the secondary because there's a lot of question marks in the secondary. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And Alex Highsmith's back. Alex Highsmith, I know his stats don't pop up. He's missed, 6 games? He's played 6 games. So you look at that. But when he plays, he is such a freak alongside TJ Watt. I remember that. I think it was the Giants game. Those guys were just pressuring Daniel Jones. Those guys were getting to the quarterback. Those guys were feasting in that pocket.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be evident again versus the Browns in this game just because of the nature of the game, the importance of the game. And last week I said before the Bengals game, I felt like Watt, he was due for one of those big games, one of those high impact games where he was going to make an impact play and he was just his presence was going to be felt all game, especially since, the Browns game prior. He didn't really have much presence.
No, he was a non-factor, and Garrett was. Garrett had 3 sacks on us last time, and Watt, again, a non-factor. He was basically on a milk carton, missing. Like, have you seen this man? Like Watt was of no impact.
But I think that's going to change this week. I think that's going to be different this week.
Yeah.
I think this Steelers team from that Browns game is going to be a lot different this week than they were 2 weeks ago. Because I think that Browns loss was a blessing in disguise because it got us what we got last week, and now they have a better understanding of the team now, and they're going to go into this game feeling a different way about the Browns, not sleeping on them, not underestimating them, and wanting a win, needing a win, knowing the significance of it.
Yeah, of course.
When you look at the Browns, they got Jameis Winston at quarterback, as you guys know. They got Jerry Jeudy, who's been lighting the league up the last 5 weeks.
As a matter of fact, the biggest benefactor ever since Winston has came in has been Jerry Jeudy.
I mean, the man has had over 70-plus yards receiving in the last 5 games.
5 straight games, over 70 yards, and fresh off, the Monday night game, he had, 235 and a touchdown against Denver.
Yeah.
Like Jerry Jeudy, he is actually starting to live up to that first-round pedigree that the Broncos were hoping that they would get, when he came out of Alabama. Now he's doing it with Jameis Winston in Cleveland, and he has stepped up as their number 1 since they traded away Amari Cooper.
How dirty?
And keep in mind, last time we played the Browns, every time Jeudy was targeted by Winston, Jeudy caught the ball, and that was against JPJ.
I got the stats right here. Receptions and targets, 6 for 6 for 85 yards, a long of 26.
2 of those catches, if I remember, or at least the ones that pop off the top of my head, are the 4th down conversion and the third down conversion, the lone third down conversion after Tomlin called that timeout.
Yeah, so you can't sleep on Jerry Jeudy. Like Jerry Jeudy, when the Browns trade for him, I honestly viewed it as a hilarious move. I didn't Jerry Jeudy hasn't been anything with the Browns. The Browns are trying to get rid of him because he was a bust for Denver. He was costing them games. He was dropping passes. He wasn't living up to that Bama pedigree, right? Well, now apparently he is, because the last 5 games since Winston's played, he's been lighting the league up. He's top 5 in receiving yards, as a matter of fact, as we stand.
Yeah.
As we speak.
He's on pace to hit 1,000 yards for the first time in his career.
Like, that's impressive. You cannot sleep on him, especially when you look at the secondary and the big chunk plays they've allowed, the yardage, the touchdowns that they're allowing, especially what Winston did to the Steelers just a couple weeks ago. And Winston, he's a slinger. Like, does he make mistakes? A lot of them, actually. Last week especially.
Oh, yeah, that's 2 pick sixes. 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions, yeah. But he can sling it. He's not afraid to sling it. He can connect with his targets.
No, Winston has always been that type of guy that's always been capable of slinging the football. Like, there's no denying the guy's arm power and arm talent. Like, he's always been about slinging the football. He did it for Tampa and New Orleans and now Cleveland here. Like, the man has mental errors still. It's why he's a backup. But, like, yeah, the man can sling it, and ever since he's been in there, he's given Jeudy opportunities. He's given Elijah Moore opportunities, David Njoku opportunities. Like, he just spreads the ball around. It's actually been a benefactor to the Browns being competitive and the offense actually getting down the field.
Yeah, so just like that Browns game 2 weeks ago, we can't sleep on that offense.
No.
Just because they have a backup quarterback and Winston turns the ball over way too much, and he threw 2 pick sixes last week, we can't underestimate that. Especially with how bad our secondary has been in regards of allowing chunk plays and yardage the past number of weeks. JPJ specifically. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know if he's getting lazy. I don't know if it's a coaching error. I don't know what the problem is. But JPJ has been absolute garbage the past couple of weeks. In fact, there's been a couple games this season where we thought, oh, that was his worst game in a Steelers uniform. No, that was his worst. It's like every single game that he has, every bad game he has, seems like it gets worse.
And it's really came about, like, after the bye week. Have you noticed that? Like, after the bye week, that's when JPJ and his, like, poor play has really started to show up. And not just poor play, but the ridiculous amount of penalties.
Yes.
Like, he had 5 penalties alone last week against Denver. I think about 7 or 9 within the past 3 or 4 games. Something like that. Like, which is weird because, like, if you remember earlier in the season, he wasn't really garnering a lot of flags.
No.
But after the bye week, all of a sudden, JPJ is just, for some reason, just huggy and wanting to hold the receivers left and right and just not really living up to exactly what he should be playing like he did in his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, as we stand right now, he's not playing like a cornerback one. He's playing very much like a more penalized Sauce, if I'm being honest with you. And I think Sauce is a little more locked down. Joey Porter, I don't know if it's laziness, but he needs to stop grabbing these guys. And against Jerry Jeudy, who definitely had his number 2 weeks ago, JPJ's going to have to play a lot better. Out of all the guys in the secondary, he needs to step up the most because he's the guy we're depending on. He's the number 1 corner. He's the guy we took 32nd overall. He has the legacy, the Porter name.
He's got the Steeler blood, not just the NFL bloodline. He's got Steeler bloodline in him.
Yes, and I have faith he's going to rebound. It might not be this week. I don't know when it's going to be. I have faith at some point he's going to rebound.
Yeah, I mean, listen, despite how poor he's been playing and the amount of penalties that's been thrown his way, I still think the world of I still think of Porter as a hell of a talent. I think the world of JPJ. I think he's a talented individual.
Agreed.
And I feel like the Steelers got to stop putting him in zone situations. We know that he's not a zone corner. That was always his worst trait. His strong suit is press man coverage. That's what they have to have JP doing at least 95% of the time.
Right.
They have to have him as a press man guy, man coverage all the time. That's what they need JPJ to do. But even then, JPJ still has to stop holding on to his targets. Like he showed last year and earlier in the season that he is able to play clean. He can play physical, but he can play clean. He can play exactly like you want and expect JPJ to play like.
Right.
But the past number of weeks, the man is just like a target for flags.
Yeah, he had
And it's
six penalties last week.
Six. I said 5. 6?
6.
Dude, like that is ridiculous, man.
Before last week, he had 8 coming in. Now he's up to 14 all season.
That is ridiculous.
That's just a bad game by JPJ. Now, I'll say this. I feel like some of them were pretty questionable because I think the refs were definitely absolutely awful last week. I mean, the refs have been awful in regards to the Steelers for the past number of weeks. There's been so many missed and bad calls. If you want to go to that Browns game, the officiating was awful. Awful. And then last week versus the Bengals, officiating was awful.
Terrible.
Awful. You know, officiating has not been on the Steelers' side, and I'm not in no way, shape, or form putting the blame on some of their losses or some of the errors that the Steelers have suffered on the refs, but the officiating has been awful. So to give JPJ the benefit of the doubt, I feel like some of them are a little wishy-washy. I feel like some of them are a little, uncalled for by the officials, by the Zebras, right? But at the same time, the principle of it all is he's got to stop hugging these guys.
Or just making early contact with them as the ball is being thrown toward the intended receiver's way.
He's got to play more physical. He's got to be a little, smarter as a cornerback.
Yeah. That's all we ask for JPJ to do because we still think highly of JPJ. We still expect him and think of him as the true cornerback one for the Steelers.
And I do think he's going to rebound. And, but at the same time, if he keeps going down this stretch, in the chat, feel free to get your opinion in as well. Do you think the Steelers or Mike Tomlin contemplates benching him?
Well, considering that Corey Trice has been freshly activated off IR, I mean, I don't think they do it during the Browns game. I don't think they do it immediately because I think Tomlin would consider that as a knee-jerk reaction. Tomlin's never been that guy to just, make those decisions like that, but... Say that it were to continue because, not only does he have Judy this week, but he's got A.J. Brown next week.
Oh, God.
A.J. Brown, dude.
That terrifies
And,
me.
of course, Zay Flowers the week after, and then, the DeAndre Hopkins the week after, and Jamar Chase again. So, JPJ's got a lot on his plate the next amount of games.
Right.
So, if he doesn't do anything against Cleveland, if he does not get better against Cleveland, if he doesn't get better against Philly, then maybe I could see, Tomlin consider, hey, let's just put Trice in there because, this is a problem. It's affecting the defense. It's allowing the offense to get down because JPJ is making these mental mistakes. He's making these errors. We got to do something. And I feel like if that were to be the case, then you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he will eventually bench him. But if he were, I don't think he'd bench him long term. I think it'd just be more of a humbling experience for JPJ, if it ever comes down to it.
And that's a big if. And if that is the case, if we ever, go down that road, maybe that's something that JPJ may need.
Well, benching has always, it's been, one of those things that kind of blesses a certain individual. And we've seen it from the Steelers in past years. So I don't think it happens, but if it has to happen, then good thing we got Corey Trice back. Because when Corey Trice plays, when he's healthy, I think he can be a significant player in the secondary. So it's good to have him back. What his role could be, what Trice's role could be, if he will play, if anything, I don't know. But at least we're going to have him back, and that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge right there. But I'll say this about JPJ as well real quick. I'd much rather him not make errors. But if there was a time for him to make errors, its best time is now to get it out of his system so he can focus on where he's got to improve and, where he's got to fix in his technique and his physicality and where he's grabbing these guys too much. I'd rather it not happen. I'd rather we not go through this. But if we have to, and which we are now, best now so he can kind of just get over the hump and fix those issues.
Yeah, I'm sure Tomlin and Terrell Austin and everybody else, throughout the week, leading up to this game, I'm sure that they had to have talked to JPJ about it because 6 penalties in one game is just ridiculous.
Right.
Like, you don't just... A player doesn't have 6 penalties in one game, and then the coach is like, don't worry about it. It was just a bad day. You'll rebound. Like, yeah, I hope he rebounds, but it's also one of them things that you have to sit down and talk to him about it. Like you can't be doing this.
Well, I'm sure they have. We might see that in the next Hard Knocks episode.
Maybe.
I have not watched Hard Knocks yet.
Neither have I.
Haven't had time this week.
I have seen clips on social media, especially the one about Nick Herbig and Tomlin, challenging Herbig, to which, Herbig definitely, owned up to it.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about that's a great way to scheme right into the pass rush. But that pass rush, they only had 1 sack 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the pass rush against Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland was well prepared for TJ Watt. The guy was a non-factor. The pass rush overall, like, I feel like, again, it goes back to coaching with Terrell Austin and his play calling. I felt like he didn't really, send a lot of pressure toward Jameis Winston because the Browns' offensive line, though it's healthy at this point late into the season, I still don't find it as a reliable part of that Browns offense. They've given up now 50 sacks on the season altogether.
Yeah, and they're still suffering injuries at the tackle position.
I believe right now on the injury report, Jedrick Wills, their left tackle, is actually out. So
significant with Highsmith being back.
Absolutely. So, the Steelers got to be looking at that, have to be wanting to take advantage of that. And just in general against this offensive line, they give up a lot of sacks and they definitely give up a lot of penalties just as much.
Well, you also look at last week. They had 3 sacks, 2 of them being strip sacks from Watt and Herbig.
Yeah.
So I think this pass rush is going to be a lot better this week. I think this pass rush is going to be a lot more hungry. I think there's definitely going to be a lot more pressure felt from Jameis Winston. I think we're going to get, his linemen backed up into him. Maybe we get Winston on the ground, get him dirty a little bit, maybe force him to make mistakes because obviously, when Winston's under pressure, that's when he starts making mistakes. This is what we saw last week versus the Broncos where he threw 3 interceptions, 2 of them being pick sixes. How do you throw 2 pick sixes in the game,
because he's Jameis Winston. He has made a living off pick sixes. Do you not remember his 30 for 30 season?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
He's made a living off that, and now he's praying to the Lord above to deliver him from pick sixes. You made a career off of that, Jameis. I don't know what else to tell you.
But that's what intrigues me about this game. That's what makes me excited about this game because here's the thing with the defense, right? If they're not getting sacks consistently, if they're not making stops in the passing attack or on the ground and they're allowing yardage and touchdowns, one thing you can guarantee from the Steelers, man, is they will force turnovers. They are always going to be able to force the turnovers. And as a matter of fact, in the last 3 weeks, versus the Ravens, versus the Browns, and the Bengals,
AFC North division.
In each of those 3 games, they have forced 3 turnovers in each of those games.
And within those games, a guy like Nick Herbig has had 3 forced fumbles in 3 straight games.
He has been responsible for 3 of the 9 turnovers.
As well as Dante Jackson. He has had 2 interceptions in 2 straight games. It's actually a second time this season he has done that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So it goes to show, a depth guy like Herbig, who is without a doubt starter worthy, making plays like that. A new addition on Dante Jackson making plays like that. And we all know, what Watt can do and what Hayward can do.
And Highsmith coming back.
Absolutely.
So when I look at that, I'm hoping the defense can improve in terms of allowing chunk plays and yardage and just all this blown coverage and these blown assignments. But I do trust this team or the defense to make plays and come up with turnovers. And against Jameis Winston, you always got to favor that in regards to the Steelers because even the Steelers in that loss, they had 3 turnovers versus the Browns. Deshaun Elliott forced a fumble. Nick Herbig got a sack. Dante Jackson got an interception, right? I think that could be a repeat in this game, especially with how Winston's coming off probably his worst performance of the season.
Yeah, and even when Winston was in, whether it was Watson or Winston, I mean, the Browns are just horrible at protecting the football.
Horrible.
They cannot protect it at all. Their ball security is probably the worst. I believe they're -8 as far as the turnover ratio goes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's definitely, the Steelers got 3 turnovers against the Browns last time, so, they definitely got to keep at that again.
Oh, for sure. And the fact that they're getting all 4 of their edge guys in the same game, I believe, for the first time this season, that's massive.
It is.
They're gonna have Highsmith, they're gonna have Watt, and they're gonna have Herbig for the first time together in the same game since week 3.
In a bit.
Like that, I think that's significant.
And again, you add Preston Smith as a legitimate number 4.
In fact, the Steelers, if you look at it from the turnover differential, they are second in the league right now with +15, second to only Buffalo.
Yeah, it's impressive.
They can force the turnovers, and I really think that we're going to see that heavy in this game. Shout out to Abel with a 199. Appreciate you, Abel. Good seeing you in the chat as always, man. Let me see. Let me get to the super chat. Why is it not popping?
I got it right here.
There you
Abel with a 199. Shout out to Abel. He says, "Do you guys think Kevin gets fired? If no, why?" Kevin Stefanski, you mean? I don't think he gets fired. I don't. He's just coming off a Coach of the Year season,
Yeah, no.
with Joe Flacco.
No, I don't think. No, they're not.
I
Gonna
mean, would it be the most Browns move ever? Yes. Do I think it happens? No. Like I don't think that the Browns do that to Stefanski, because ever since Stefanski has been in there, the Browns have been more competitive and challenging than they have ever been.
And listen,
I actually think Stefanski's still a good coach. I do.
I think he is. He's just dealt with an awful situation.
Yeah, because the Browns organization, they've made just stupid decisions. We all know, what we're talking about here.
Josh.
We've got 2 words for you.
Josh Butler with a 199. Appreciate you, Josh. But here's the thing, though. Stefanski's also to blame because, he's the one that brought in Jim Schwartz. He's the one that is kind of hurt this team. He's the one that, helped in getting Deshaun Watson and pushing Baker Mayfield out of town. So he's not innocent in all this. But I think he's still a good coach. I don't think the Browns fire him, though.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. But, I do feel confident that this defense is going to have another solid game. I don't think they were particularly great versus the Bengals or versus the Browns, but they did come up with the turnovers when we needed them to. And it really changed the tide and helped the Steelers get the momentum back, and it helped the Steelers get the lead in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And last week especially, one thing that was very persistent about last week's game versus the Bengals is every time the Bengals would score, the Steelers would answer. The Steelers would score afterwards. They would always tie the game. And then once Watt got that strip sack and the Steelers got the lead, the Bengals never got the lead back.
Never recovered.
That's one thing that is always stuck with me about this Steelers team this year. Even versus the Browns. 2 weeks ago on Thursday night, they were down 18-6, and they came back in 6 minutes in the fourth quarter because of the defensive turnovers, right? Now, they didn't maintain the lead. They didn't finish the game, but something like that is something that has been evident all season, and more specifically, I would say every week since the bye week. Versus the Commanders, they came back. Versus the Ravens, they came back. Versus the Browns, they came back, but still lost, but still. And then last week, they fought fire with fire, man. They were matching the Bengals' energy offensively, and it allowed them to beat the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, I think you got to do the same thing. You got to keep that momentum. You got to keep that energy. And against the Browns, which again they have nothing to lose. They never have, but they especially now they have nothing to lose. They're gonna try to play spoiler.
If you're not down with that,
Shout out to Josh again.
We've got 2 words for you.
Joshua Butler with the 199 says, "Are you worried this Sunday if George Pickens doesn't play?"
I see why you say that, Josh, because Pickens did pop up on the injury report today. He is questionable with a hamstring because he was limited today.
Yes, that came out just today. I think he's gonna play. He spoke with the media. He looks fine. I think Pickens is gonna play.
Yeah.
I don't think he's even going to see some snap reducements. I think he'll be just fine.
I wouldn't be surprised if they take him off the injury report come tomorrow or tomorrow afternoon.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we obviously know how significant the hamstring is, and
oh yeah, of course.
But
and just having George Pickens, I mean, like we all know what he can do, and just that connection between him and Russ week by week is just the moon bowls weekly.
But
it's just a glorious thing to see.
But to answer your question, Josh, am I worried if Pickens doesn't play? A little bit, because Pickens is a significant playmaker. Him and Russ is connected every week since Russ has came in.
Yeah.
Pickens is incredible. Yeah, does he have an attitude issue? Obviously. Is he a little immature? I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
Yeah, Najee Harris takes a handoff, but up the field, George Pickens is in a fist fight with Greg Newsome.
Yeah, of course. Who?
Yeah. Pickens don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is either.
Greg Newsome.
Who? No, but seriously. Pickens, man, does he need to grow up? Absolutely.
Yeah, like we all know his behavioral issues and his attitude and his maturity. Yes, we know that, it shows on the field, whether if it's from his taunts or him, getting physical with defenders. That can be a weekly thing that can be annoying, yes.
Does he crash out a lot? Yes. But in a sense, listen, I don't know why. And maybe it's a bad trait here. Maybe I'm just too used to it at the wide receiver position. I don't know. It kind of makes me like Pickens more a little bit. I don't know why. I just find him to be more enjoyable or more entertaining, or I rally behind Pickens a little more when that happens. He's just easy to root for.
I'll tell you what, I'm not hearing anything about any, negative things behind the locker room or him having any innocence in the locker room with the coaches or the players. I'm not hearing any of that. As long as I don't hear any of that, then it's no problem with me.
Right.
As long as it's on the field, he's just playing football.
And when he's on the field, he absolutely plays some fucking football. Swear jar. But if he's out, clearly, yeah, Calvin Austin's going to see an increased role. Van Jefferson's going to see an increased role, and I would imagine Mike Williams sees an increased role.
I hope so.
Maybe Ben Skoranek sees an increased role. I would hope so. Even if Pickens plays. More Ben Skoranek because he's such an incredible blocker. I like his presence on the field.
Dude, he came up big so well last week in Cincinnati.
Oh, some of the Najee tosses, some of the Najee runs, Skoranek was creating some lanes. I mean, he was just, none of these Bengals defenders had any answers against him.
Yeah, and he actually told a reporter that, like he wanted to be the best at something. If it's not, as a receiver, as a ball catcher, like he wants to be good at something, and that's blocking. And he is one hell of a blocker.
Oh, he's an incredible blocker. I knew that coming out of his Notre Dame days.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I thought coming out of college, maybe he makes the move to tight end because that's just how much of a great blocker he is.
I mean, he's got the build for it, but at wide receiver, hey, you need a blocking wide receiver. Look no further than Ben Skoranek. I mean, the guy will push a guy back. He will hold his own and, be able to help the ball carrier do what he needs to do.
And I think, when you look back at that Browns game and you see some of the mistakes that the offense had, especially on those 4th and short situations where they missed 2 out of the 3. Yeah, 2 out of the 3. They missed 2 out of the 3. They only made 1. A lot of that, and a lot of their, non-success. Some of the reason why they didn't find much success in the rushing game was due to Connor Hayward. Connor Hayward, listen, we know he's a Hayward. We know exactly why he's on the team. I thought he had a good rookie year, but ever since then, he's seen an increased role now with Arthur Smith because he now runs a lot more I form. He runs a ton of tight end packages. Connor Hayward is going to see more playing time. But because of that, Connor Hayward hasn't really played well. He's actually been a huge negative in a lot of ways. He can't block well. He has inconsistent hands.
He has not taken that next step.
No.
Coming out of Michigan State because he's a Hayward. He's got, football is in his blood. I consider him as a full-blown football player coming out of Michigan State. I feel like wherever you would put him, Connor Hayward can ball because, I feel like his hands were strong and he was just a very good offensive player. But I don't know what it is, but Hayward has just not been able to live up to that.
I don't know if it's a strength issue. Maybe it has something to do with his size because he's a little undersized for his position. But, what I noticed, and the reason we bring it up is because in that Browns game, he had a lot of responsibility as that blocker. He didn't find success. The Steelers didn't find success because of it. Then you saw a personnel change. They played a lot more Ben Skoranek. They played a lot more Michael Pruitt. And there was a ton more success. And I think that's the thing that goes to show that they can make adjustments. They can improve in a lot of areas. And I think more playing time for those two specifically is a good thing because that's going to lead to a lot of success in the run game like it did last week. And I think that's where the Steelers can find a lot of success in the offense this week is keep feeding Najee, keep feeding Warren, and even Patterson. They're finding success in both areas while rushing and receiving. And, versus the Browns, they didn't find a lot of that. Well, maybe it was due to a blocking issue. Maybe it was due to a personnel usage. Arthur Smith changed it up. He spread the ball around. He mixed some things up. He opened the offense a little bit. And the offense, specifically Najee, found a lot more success in the ground game. Well, let's run it back. Let's get those guys back on the field. Let's get those guys as the blockers. Let's get those guys in the second level. And let's let these running backs eat, especially if Pickens is going to be reduced. Or, God forbid, he is out. I don't think he will be, but
yeah.
Even still, you got to look at that as a possibility. I think run the ball is still a good formula for the Steelers because it's one of the big reasons why they have found success. That's almost their identity in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But is it really now? Because with Russell Wilson at quarterback, this guy's just cooking, man. There's not many mistakes I can think of what Russell Wilson has forced or committed.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of his interceptions, sure, but more good than bad for a lot of his time at quarterback.
For a guy his age, 36 years old, I mean, like, he slung that ball a lot last week, and his arm did not get tired one bit. Like, it was holding up. He was slinging the ball, sprinting it around. I think he had, 6-7 different players that had a catch of 20 yards or more.
He connected with 10 different targets.
10 different targets.
8 of them had over 20 yards of chunk yardage.
Even then, that's much better. Like, you see the chunk yardage that is just being seen in the passing attack because of Russell Wilson. And it just goes to show that, how his high football IQ and just his intelligence and how great of a person he is when it comes to the sport of the game. A great mind of that. It's a huge benefactor because Russ is out there. He knows what he's doing.
Josh Butler with a
We've
$4.99.
got 2 words for you.
He says with a $4.99, do you expect Russ to have more control this week, just like he did last week? I would think so. The way he was able to audible and read defenses and change some things up, and especially like that Van Jefferson play. I don't know if it was second or third down. I forget. I think it was third down. He saw that the entire front 7 of the Browns bunched up in the box against that line. He's seen that there was only like 3 or 4 dudes in coverage, right? So he audibled and hit Van Jefferson for a deep connection. I think Russell Wilson, I think that's one of the big things he brings to the table is he's such a smart mind. He has a high IQ. He can read defenses. He can audible if he has to. He throws with anticipation. He can hit his targets anywhere along the field. And, I think that's a great thing for the Steelers because it's obviously led to some of the best quarterback play we've seen since Prime Ben, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
He threw for over 400 yards last week, 3 touchdowns. Never should have had that pick 6. I mean, Russell Wilson's killing it. And if he has some more control, I mean, that's a good thing because clearly it's leading to some of the best passing offense that we've seen in quite a long time.
No, because when Russ is out there, he has that chemistry with the players. He has the communication. He knows what he's doing.
Everyone's benefiting.
And I think you already have the sense that Tomlin has that trust and faith in Russell Wilson already.
That's why he stuck with him once Russ was healthy, he made that switch. As controversial as it might have been at the time, clearly it is the right move as we stand. It was the right move all along. And it's opening the offense so much. Everybody is benefiting from it.
It goes to show how much Tomlin believes in Russ. And if he believes in Russ, the whole team is going to believe in Russ.
And
Najee believes in Russ. Pickens believes in Russ. Muth believes in Russ. Everybody on that team believes in Russ because they know the type of caliber player that Russell Wilson is, and he's showing it week by week.
Yeah, and I don't see any reason for him to start downplaying or decreasing, after a game like that. I think he's going to...
I don't see any signs of that happening. I hope to God that doesn't happen.
No, he's playing with a different sense of energy, like a new sense of life.
A chip on his shoulder. A chip on his shoulder, man. He had a lot of people, a lot of doubters coming into the season. He had to prove a lot of people wrong, and so far so good that, he's doing it.
And now
he's cooking.
He's going up against a Browns secondary, a Browns defense that, I mean, you saw what Bo Nix did last week. You all saw what Marvin Mims did and Cortland Sutton. Tell me Russell Wilson can't exploit those same mistakes?
Mm-hmm.
He can't attack those same weaknesses with Pickens and Calvin Austin and Freiermuth. And Washington and even Van Jefferson and maybe Mike Williams gets a target this week. I don't know, but honestly, I can see Russell Wilson having another very good game this week. It just matters. It really depends on the O-line because huge shout out to the O-line from last week, man. They didn't allow a lot of pressure. They didn't allow a lot of sacks last week. And quite frankly, they allowed Russ to have the time to do everything necessary.
They shut down and limited Trey Hendrickson, who is still the NFL leader in sacks. And they managed to make Trey Hendrickson a non-factor, just like the Browns did to TJ Watt. And a big part of that was because they learned from their mistakes going up against Myles Garrett 2 weeks ago. Had 3 sacks all in the first half. Myles Garrett did. They had to learn from that. They knew that they had a big test going up against Trey Hendrickson, and they were able to shut him down. Big props to the offensive line. And now they're going to have another test in Myles Garrett. They have that familiarity they always have. But, what they learned 2 weeks ago, just continue to learn, continue to get better. And whatever you did last week, just bring that same mentality, bring that same play and that same physicality into this week because we're going to need it.
I think they're gonna make the right adjustments this week. I think they're gonna hopefully try to silence Myles Garrett as much as they can. And one thing I noticed about the Browns, man, so Myles Garrett had 3 sacks versus the Steelers in the first half 2 weeks ago. The Browns defense didn't have a single sack last week.
That's right, they didn't.
Not one.
That's right.
Not one. I think the Steelers O-line can improve. They can continue to adjust, and I think they can do enough to silence that pass rush. They can clearly make the adjustments to slow down a significant pass rusher like Hendrickson. Maybe they can do the same thing in Garrett. We'll see what happens. It's still a little hard to put your full faith in the O-line. We got to see some consistency, and that's for the entire offense as a whole. Like, we need to see a little more consistency from the offense. Last week was the best offensive performance we've seen in a long time.
All season without a doubt.
Long fucking time, dude. But we need to see some consistency. We need to see that momentum and that drive and that movement consistently. We need to see them play 60 minutes again. We need to see them move down the field again. We need to see them match whatever offense's energy again. We need to see them go down the field and score rapidly again. We need some consistency. If there's one thing I want to see in this game the most outside of a W is I want to see some more consistency from this offense, because the more consistent they are, the more faith we're going to have in them, the more that can be proven that they can stick with any offense in this league and they can win us any game necessary. They proved that last week versus the Bengals. I think that they can do that. With Russell Wilson at the helm, I think they can, because they've done it against some of the best teams. They've done it against Washington. They've done it against the Ravens. They completely matched word for word, throw for throw, score for score versus the Bengals. With Russell Wilson at the helm, there's a different sense in this offense. Everything is just better. Do they have their moments? Do they have their boneheaded issues? Sure. Nothing's going to be perfect. But in this game, I think from their mistakes they had and, where they adjusted, where they fixed a lot, where they really opened things up, I think they're going to take that same mentality into this Browns game. And hopefully we see a little more consistency, maybe see more scoring and see more spreading of the ball and, the more opening up of player personnel. I think that'd be a great thing for this offense. That's the one thing I want to see out in this game is I want to see the offense cook a little more. And I think they have a matchup for it. I think they have shown us they can make the adjustments to do it. And with Russell Wilson, the quarterback, I think we can put our full faith in him to lead this offense to a good game, to a winning formula, because we've seen it several times, but especially last week.
Yeah.
After a rough loss versus the Browns, they did what they had to do to make the necessary adjustments, and they had their best game offensively to date in a long time, but especially under Russell Wilson. I'm going to put my faith and trust in saying that I think the offense is going to do that again.
They have to.
Maybe they're not going to put up as many points and as many yardage and be as explosive.
This is not going to be a shootout here, ladies and gentlemen. That's not going to happen. When's the last time the Browns and Steelers had a shootout?
No, but what I'm saying is I do think the offense can be consistent in a sense of where they can go down the field, they can get points on the board, and they can play, more than just the second half.
Yeah, of course. Convert on their red zone drives, if not all, majority of the time. Just go out there and put on yet again another clinic. Russ, he was protective of the football. He's got to continue to do that, continue to sling it. Let's see more of what Russ did last week into this week with the passing offense. As far as rushing, we all know what the three-headed running back guys that we got, we all know what they can do, especially Najee and Warren. Continue to run the ball, run it down their throats, run right through them, get through them. And plus, the usage of Najee that we seen last week, we saw Najee a lot more utilized in the passing offense than we rarely ever do from Najee. And I think that was a big benefactor on Najee Harris able to do what he did in the run game.
I'm so happy you mentioned that, because that's something we've been begging for a while now, especially when Matt Canada was calling the plays. He was using Warren as that dual threat where when Warren came in, the defense didn't know, is he going to run it? Is he going to receive it? Because he's a dual threat. And then when Najee came in, you knew he was getting a fucking handoff.
Second to Najee.
Well,
and we still see those, but
they're a lot more successful now, because now defenses don't know that he's getting the handoff every goddamn down.
Yeah.
Now we're using them in third down situations in the receiving game. We're using him as a dual threat.
And Najee's showing, hey, what he can do out there. He can get the yards at the catch. The guy he's without a doubt one of the most toughest guys to tackle when it comes to the running back position. So let's just see more of that. Seeing Najee in the passing game, I love it. It's something that we preached about. We know that he can do it. And it helps open up the run for Najee Harris.
Yeah.
It just makes his usage less predictable. make Najee unpredictable.
It's a smart formula, especially the way they were using it, where they were just able to get down the field and move the chains. You know, it was simple, easy stuff.
Yeah, Najee had a great game against Cincinnati, so just do it again against Cleveland, and he's had quite a great resume going up against the Browns.
Yes, he has. Who could ever forget Ben's last home game?
Yep.
It was an emotional night. One of the more emotional nights I can remember as a Steelers fan.
No, but that dagger in the heart, running up the sideline for that long touchdown. I mean, that was. I think to this day, that's the most rushing yards Najee has ever had in his career. That was his rookie season.
You might be correct.
Yeah.
But, I see what the offense did. They had over 500 total yards last week. It's been a minute since that's happened, right? The Broncos, man, they put up 400 total yards of offense.
400.
They put up 41 points. Granted, 2 of them were pick sixes. But you take away 12 of those points from pick six, or 14 of those points, really. The Broncos are still putting up scores. The Broncos are still putting up touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think the Steelers can do the same thing. I think the Steelers can exploit those same weaknesses. I think they can.
And you know what? Seeing what the Broncos rushing offense did with McLaughlin, who's basically their backup, but I guess you could say he's the starter now because he's been more successful at running the ball for Denver. And we all know how weak Denver's rushing offense has been for a number of years. Just been a non-factor and just not really aggressive. I mean, Denver was just running all over them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Denver hardly ever does that against any other team, but no, Denver was just doing a solid job of running the football with McLaughlin. So the fact that you have Najee and Warren and just the credibility of your rushing offense, I don't see how the Steelers can't be effective on the ground.
I do expect a better offensive game this go around than the first go around for sure. I expect a much better game from the Steelers team overall this time around than the first go around. I think this team just knows that they can't go in this time and underestimate the Browns. They know they got to treat them like a threat. They know that they can really have a chance at sweeping them and kind of shitting on their parade, swear jar, and really just kind of stumping their momentum. I think the Steelers are going to go in with a different mindset. They're going to go in a lot more firm. They're going to go in a little more aggressive and just a lot more straightforward rather than just, it was a short week. It's against the Browns at the bottom of the division. Let's go in. It's the Browns. We got this.
Yeah, of course.
That's the loser mentality. I think the Steelers are going to go in thinking differently, feeling differently.
They have to.
I think they're going to take a different action.
They can't take the Browns lightly. No, despite their record and the fact that they just lost on a primetime game, you can't take the Browns lightly because I'm not. Dan over here is not. We're not going to take the Browns lightly because, again, the only thing that the Browns have left to fight for is to play spoiler for the AFC North division.
Yeah.
That is their mission. That is their goal, to reign on the rest of the division's parade and tarnish whatever playoff spot that they may have or playoff berth that they have or just ruin the season for them. That's the Browns' mission. That's their game plan. That's their mindset. The Steelers have to understand that. They have to go back at home, Heinz Field. They have to be well prepared. From a coaching aspect to player preparation to coaching preparation to game preparation, they have to be on their A game because this is, again, another big must-win.
Matthew, man. Appreciate you, Matthew. Always good to see you in the chat, man. But no, I agree because I think this team is really going to go in feeling different, thinking different. Because the reason I say that is because you look at last week versus the Bengals. Like, they lost versus the Browns. They had 10 days to get ready and kind of look themselves in the mirror and humble themselves. And they did. Did they still have some of those mistakes defensively? Yes, unfortunately. And that still scares me. I don't want to turn a blind eye to it. But I think this team, I've always said this team is different because there were many instances this season where they won certain games in certain fashion that I know for a fact previous teams wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have came back. They didn't have that in them. This team does. This team thinks differently. This team just they wake. They wake up when they know that things are down or when they really have to adjust and they have to step up in a sense.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go in with a similar mindset this time around versus the Browns. They know the significance of this.
Yeah, this team compared to just last year alone, and I really bring up last year because last year was just so evident. They never adjusted. They never learned from their mistakes. They went in with the same game plan week by week by week.
Agreed.
They just tried to get by, edge with a victory, just have the offense do the bare minimum with the defense relying on you and having Chris Boswell win you the game.
Exactly.
This go around with the coordinator change and Russell Wilson, They're far from perfect, but it's 1,000% much better, and they're more efficient, and they're more understanding of getting better and learning from mistakes and adjusting.
So for this game, man, I want to win back. I want to get some revenge, and I want to officially end the Brown season. That's the momentum here. Continue to get wins, stack wins, stay strong at the top of the AFC North, and get your win back. You can't risk sweeping or getting swept by the Browns. You can't risk a loss right here at this stage of the season. And I think the Steelers just understand the importance of that. They went into the Bengals game thinking that way. We can't lose to the Bengals right now. We can't do that, especially with the Ravens and what they did versus the Bengals already this season. They went into that game thinking, feeling, attacking different. I think they're going to go in this week the same way. I really do. So against the Browns, I'm very, very confident they can get a victory. I'm very confident the offense can have a more consistent base offensively, that they can, maybe not have an exact a copy paste from last week, but in a sense of being consistent and moving the ball down the field and getting points on the board and playing the majority of the game. I hope with Russ leading the charge and how hot they are coming off of that game, that they can go in with a sense of attack mode, a sense of, you know what, let's stay hungry, let's stay angry, let's play angry, let's play pissed off, because this team beat us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we want our revenge. And this is in our home. They have not beaten us here in the regular season since 2003, and they have not swept us since 1988, and that's their mission. We can't allow that to happen. We need to come in with a high mentality, a pissed-off mentality, because we want revenge, because we cannot let a team like this in a season where it's been one of our best in recent memory. We can't have the team sweeping us. We can't allow that to happen.
Well, quite frankly, what also pisses me off is the Browns have beaten us 2 straight times. Both in Cleveland. But
we can't have them go on a 3-peat. No, thank you.
I don't think that happens, man. I just can't fathom that. I can't see that. So I'm very confident the Steelers are going to go into this game pissed off, angry.
So get your revenge, beat down the Browns, and go to 10-3.
Yeah. So Steelers, man, Steelers Nation, how you guys feeling about this game? I think the offense has another good game. I hope they stay consistent, and I expect a much better game from the defense. The pass rush needs to be a lot more just strong. They got to get more pressure. They got to get to Winston. They got to force the mistakes. They definitely have to win the turnover battle. One of the biggest keys of winning this game is winning the turnover battle. They've won the turnover battle the past couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, and it's resulted in the majority of their victories. That Browns game, they won the turnover battle, but they still lost. This time around, you got to win the turnover battle, but the offense got to just take more advantage. You got to force the turnovers, win the turnover battle. You got to get to Winston, get more pressure. Defense got to be a lot stronger. You got to pressure Winston. You got to limit the receiving targets, especially Judy. Judy has never been this hot. I don't recognize this Jerry Judy.
No.
This looks like Alabama college, first-round pick, generational talent, Jerry Judy.
You got to find a way to slow him down. I want to see, from this secondary specifically, I want to see some ruthless aggression going up against this passing offense of Jameis Winston and his targets.
Yeah.
I want to see them be aggressive. I want to see them just contain Judy. I want to see them limit Winston. I want to see them pick off Winston. You know who I really want to see get an interception? Because it's been a long time coming for this man.
I already know who you're talking
about. Number 39, Minka Fitzpatrick.
He's
due.
A long time. He's due, man. He's really due. I know we say it every week, but he is due. He hasn't had a pick in almost 2 years.
I know.
It's
unheard of. It's an unheard of stat to say about Minka Fitzpatrick. Whether it's him, whether it's coaching, whether it's just teams not looking his direction because they know what's going to happen. It could be all the above. But Minka, man, he deserves a fucking pick.
He deserves a pick.
I want to see him get a pick. I will mark the hell out if he gets a pick come Sunday.
You got everyone getting picks.
Everyone's getting a piece of the pie, like Dante Jackson's got 5, Beanie Bishop's got 3.
Joey Porter Jr. had 1.
Yeah.
Corey Trice had 1 in week 2 versus the Broncos.
Deshaun Elliott got 1.
one.
Minka needs a piece of the pie.
I agree.
We'll see what happens, though.
I mean, I'm hoping that's the case, man. So we'll see what happens. But what I want to see what I'm really hoping for, and I don't think it's actually going to happen. I want to see a dominant performance from this defense. I don't think it's going to happen because this defense still has a lot of issues. They still have a lot of errors. I don't think they played particularly great last week, but the turnovers is where we know they can come up, is where they know they can eat, is where they can come in clutch. That's their bread and butter. If it's not getting sacks, it's getting turnovers. So I trust the defense to do that, especially against Winston.
It's the best thing about the defense.
But they got to play stronger.
They do. Again,
They got to play stronger. Otherwise, it's going to be another one of those situations, much like last week, where the offense is going to have to win them the game.
I want to see some ruthless aggression from this defense. I do.
I expect a much better game this time around than the first time. I expect a much better team. I expect a much better focus, a much better mindset, mentality, much better preparation. I expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to go into this game angry, pissed off, wanting revenge, and wanting to stay strong at the top of the AFC North. If they go in thinking any different, you run the risk of a sweep. And that is absolutely an awful thought. And it'll be a worse reality. So you go into this game saying, fuck the Cleveland Browns. You're going into our home where we've beaten you every year.
For the past 20 years.
For the past 20 years.
Regular season wise.
Regular season. I mean, no, we beat them, Even though we lost that playoff game, we beat them in Pittsburgh that year as well. We essentially beat them in every single year in Pittsburgh the last 20 years.
That's what I mean by regular season.
Well, yes, but we beat them.
That year, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so 20 years, yes.
Yes. So technically, yes, they beat them every year in Pittsburgh for the last 20 years.
Yes.
All because they got that one win, and it made them, made their heads grow a lot larger.
Way over their heads on that one.
Way over their heads.
Way over their heads.
It inflated the franchise and inflated the fan base crazy. Well,
now look at you.
Now look at you.
$74 million for the next 2 years with Deshaun Watson. Have fun.
Have fun. Have fun.
Well, we're riding with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and we're only paying them $2 million. Not even.
No, 1.2.
That's it.
That's the vet minimum. Well, Denver's just over there, just.
They're paying this man $30 million roughly. No. How much?
That was like 39.
However much it is, that's a lot.
I lost count.
But they're paying him a lot to throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. So
I'm feeling very confident about this game, guys. That's all I gotta say. I'm feeling very strong about this. I think we get a victory, and I'm hoping for a very good feel victory. Fingers crossed, man. But all I want at the end of the day, I want to win back. I want to win versus the Browns, and I want to stay strong at the top of the AFC North. It's a necessity for this team right now. The more they win, the better they stand, because clearly the Ravens are going to find a harder time to play catch up. So keep winning and keep staying strong. It's all that matters right now. Just keep winning. Any way they win is a good way. But if it's as strong as it was last week, it's even better, because then that tells us, hey, this team can make a push. This team can really be a contender, perhaps. At least win a playoff game. And playoffs right around the corner, man. I don't know when the Steelers can clinch a playoff spot, but all I know is that if they keep winning, obviously it's going to be impossible for the Ravens to play catch up. So I believe, I don't know for a fact. I would have to do some research, but my projection, my guess, is if the Steelers keep winning, they should be able to clinch the AFC North by, I want to say, week 15 or 16. Probably week 16, maybe week 17.
if they keep stacking wins.
I would have to do research, but I know the Ravens are about a game and a half, 2 games behind us, and they're on a bye. So, I mean, that just intensifies the idea that a win here is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So, beat the Browns, guys. Beat the Browns. Get your revenge. And I want another good game, man. I want another good game from the Steelers team, especially the offense. More good from the offense would give us a lot more comfortability heading into the deeper stretch, especially once we get into that 10-game or a 10-day, 3-game stretch.
Yep, indeed, man.
Because we're going to need it, man. But let's get a look at the chat here, man. 71% of you guys think that TJ Watt will have more sacks in this game than Myles Garrett or Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, off of 143 votes.
One thing I want to mention as well, I find it hilarious that Myles Garrett, he has, 10 sacks on the year?
10, yeah.
He had 3 versus the Steelers 2 weeks ago, all in the first half. He didn't have 1 last week. Watt is still only half a sack from him.
Yeah.
And I listen, call me biased. I think Watt's going to eclipse that. I think Watt is going to eclipse Myles Garrett this week in sacks. Watt is not far off from the lead.
No,
He's not.
he's too short. He's too short. He's still, in the running for that.
Yeah.
And in the running for Defense Player of the Year.
Oh yeah.
Still, as always.
I mean that's going to be a thing until he retires. I mean he's just such a dominant player, man. I know there's been a couple games where he hasn't really put up anything crazy, or maybe he was non-existent like the last time versus the Browns. But that's just credit to the Browns on trying to silence him, and it's not an easy thing to do. But let me tell you, T.J. Watt's going to go into this game watching that and thinking, I can't be as silent as I was. I can't go in versus the Browns and do nothing. That's just not T.J. of me. That's not how I roll versus the Browns. This is the Browns we're talking about. Come on. And then fucking Myles Garrett, right? After the game, he's saying he's the best at his position and he's better and all this. No, he's not. No, I'm sorry. Listen, I know Myles Garrett has more sacks right now. He had 3 sacks versus TJ or versus the Steelers, and TJ had nothing. But listen, TJ's still the better player. TJ is still more
hands
significant.
down. Like Garrett was the better player in that game, but that's one game off of how many?
I'm not taking anything away from Garrett.
No, I never will. Like, we all know the type of player Garrett is. He's a beast. He will go down as a future Hall of Famer.
He is an elite playmaker. I can't take anything away from Myles Garrett. But 3 first-half sacks, and you think you're the best of your position over Watt? Listen, Watt is just different. He's just built different.
He's not from this planet.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He is something else. Watt is generational.
No, he's just a better overall edge guy.
Yeah.
Especially in his scheme where he's gonna have to, first of all, rotate pretty often with how deep our edge group is, and drop back into coverage, and still get 10+ sacks every season.
Yeah,
it's astronomical. And I do think he eclipsed double-digit sacks in this game. I think he gets at least 1 in this game, man.
He's gonna be hungry for it.
I hope so, man. I'm really hoping for a good defensive performance. Maybe a couple sacks, maybe a pick or 2. I think that'd be very enjoyable to watch. I'm hoping this defense has a stronger performance. I'm thinking this entire Steelers team has a stronger performance. As long as they get a dub, though, I think that's what's most important. I think that's something we can all agree on for sure.
Yeah.
I got Cam Hayward with 2.5 this Sunday. 2.5 would be crazy.
Says Shroom. Great name, by the way.
I think that'd be great.
Cam Hayward, man, for his age, playing the way that he has all season is just outstanding. Like, major props to Cam Hayward, because I remember, when he was gifted that contract extension, I believe I said, like I was okay with the extension. It was team friendly. It's exactly what Hayward wanted. He gets to play the rest of his career as a Steeler because he is a Steeler for life. He'll go down as one of the greatest Steelers of all time. And my concern was about his health and his injuries because, he had a nagging groin injury come last year. I did have that concern. That has been no issue this year at all.
None at all.
The man has been healthy. He has played 100% every single game, has just been an absolute stud. Stopping the run, just batting passes, getting sacks. Like Hayward, he is showing no signs of slowing down for his
guy,
age.
man, 6 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 8 passes defended.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward, man. Listen, when he's healthy, he's still one of the best at his position. It's unbelievable what Cam Hayward can do, man. He just finds the fire in the youth.
Right now, he might be the best defensive lineman out there. Defensive tackle, whatever you want to mark him as.
If it's not Dexter Lawrence, it might be this guy.
I don't know. Like I think Hayward could really throw his name in that category. I think you can make a valid argument about Cam Hayward.
I'm just so glad
he's doing this play for a man of his age.
I think I'm just so
glad.
You
don't see that often.
I'm just so glad he's healthy because it's very, very massive for this defense.
Crucial.
It's very crucial.
Yeah.
What's also crucial is Nick Herbig. Gotta talk about him. Dude, this guy, 4.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles the last 3 weeks.
3 straight games, yep.
Unbelievable.
Stud.
He has 4 forced fumbles all season. Keep in mind, he's only started 5 games. And he has 3 forced fumbles the last 3 games and 2 sacks the last 2 games.
It's crazy with how limited playing time he gets the man just makes the most of his snaps, the most of his plays.
Dude, it's incredible because last year, what did he have? Like, what, 3 sacks?
Yeah.
Three sacks.
3 as a 4.
Yeah.
As a 4.
As a 4 because Marcus Golden was the 3, right? Nick Herbig had 3 sacks last week and didn't even start a single game. This year, he has 5 starts and 8 games played and is already at 4.5 sacks, more sacks than last year, and double the amount of forced fumbles. This guy's made a play in every game since stepping in as the starter, since Highsmith went down.
And this is why the Steelers select him. And the fact that he fell to the 4th, why? Because he's small, because of his size.
Because he's 6'2".
Herbig knows exactly how to use his size when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. The guy is quick off the line of scrimmage. He makes tackles look silly. He knows how to get around offensive tackles. He did it against Orlando Brown.
Yeah, he's just...
And Tomlin hard knocks, in that clip that I seen, he challenged Herbig. Like he said, Highsmith got 2 sacks on the Bengals, and they brought in Orlando Brown because of it. Now, Herbig, you're the backup, but you're stepping in. You're starter worthy. We know the talent that you possess. There's a reason why we brought you in. We need you to live up to that challenge, and he absolutely did.
Yeah.
He came up crucial with that strip sack, to which Payne Wilson returned it to the house.
Ever since he's came back from his injury, he's made a play. Every single game he's made a play, dude. That's very significant. I think that's incredible, and a huge shout to Nick Herbig for being such a dominant football player. The T.J. Watt mini.
At this point, yeah.
I'm serious.
At this point,
This guy is
listen.
TJ Watt in miniature.
Same school, and Watt tutored him back when he was in Wisconsin. Now he's tutoring him and working with him every day at practice and even during the offseason. Like Herbig is basically mini Watt, and especially with how consistent he is when it comes to causing turnovers and getting pressure to the sack. You want to talk about pass rush win rates? Look no further than Nick Herbig.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Nick Herbig, man, he is an absolute stud. I knew he would be coming out of Wisconsin, and his size never concerned me.
No, never, because he's so explosive. He has an arsenal of pass rush maneuvers. He just knows how to constantly get pressure. He's gone up against some of the best in the league. High pedigree guys like Rashawn Slater had 2 sacks on him. He went up against Orlando Brown, strip sack versus Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy's just all over the place. Nick Herbig, man, what a stud. Absolute stud is he. He's a phenomenal football player.
It's crazy. He's only going to get better, too.
Dude,
he's only going to continue to learn. He's going to grow as a player.
He's done everything he's done in limited snaps. And when his name has been called because of injury, he's making plays. This is what he does when he makes the most of his time. When he's on the field, he makes the most of it.
And it goes to show how crucial the edge depth is. Nick Herbig, because I look back before he was drafted by the Steelers, and the edge depth that we had when Watt went out, and all we had was Highsmith, and the guys behind that. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Absolute,
what was his name?
Absolute
from the Broncos?
Nobody. Malik Reed.
Who?
Malik Reed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, who? Exactly. Like who? Because there was no pressure from that side. You hardly saw anything.
And was he on the field? I don't know.
Dude, like having the edge depth that we have right now, I am very happy and appreciative that we have that, because it is crucial.
You know what I want to see a lot on Sunday from the defense? And this is where I think the defense can really benefit. Again, Highsmith, Herbig, and Watt have only played 3 games together. That was the first 3 weeks of the season.
Right.
Now they're back for the first time all together, all healthy, a part of the active roster since week 3. Terrell Austin, I am begging you to run the 3 outside linebacker packages. If you got to blitz Nick Herbig interior, do it. You got to blitz Highsmith interior, do it. You want to blitz Watt interior, which is probably the best option, do it.
Rotate your edge defenders, man. Move them around.
Get those 3 involved. Get those 3 on the field as much as possible.
Going against the Browns offensive line that has a lot of penalties and gives up a lot of sacks already in the season. Yeah, you got to find a way to play those 3 individuals, because they will make plays. We all know that.
Yeah.
They're just excellent. Excellent on the defense.
I mean, imagine this. You got Herbig on Watt's side. You got Highsmith on his side. You got Watt blitzing interior with Hayward and whoever other defensive lineman they want to blitz or push interior. That's deadly, dude. How do you stop that? How do you stop three
You
guys?
can't.
How do you stop three guys that can get home so quick and so often?
Simply put, you can't. There is no stopping
How do you
that.
stop that? If you know your secondary is having issues, if you know JPJ can't stop hugging his fucking wide receivers, if you know that any of the other guys can't cover to save their goddamn
At
lives,
a consistent basis.
you
at that.
hit home as often and as fast as you can. The best way to do it is utilize your deep edge group. If you're not doing Herbig, if you're not doing any other guy, use Preston Smith. He's a more veteran guy. He's a bigger body. That's a dominant phase as well. Use it.
Can you imagine? Like, I know Preston Smith in his contract. It's a little high with what the next 2 years, something like that. Maybe they can work it out. Like, keep in mind, like this current edge group that we have right now, the Steelers may be looking at potentially keeping it for the next 2 years.
Dude, it's
Just imagine that, dude.
Dude, it's so deep. If they even want to take Watt off the field for whatever reason, you can still put Preston Smith interior and Highsmith and Watt on the edge. Oh my God.
Highsmith Herbert, yeah, like oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
You like this edge group we have right now, they could keep them for another 2 years. Just intact. Think about it. If they really wanted to.
That's how does Winston is his smile and his good feeling and the good energy he's having and the good that goes to dark immediately.
Yeah, he better be praying to the Lord above 10 times more than he
10 times over.
Yeah.
My God.
He may be happy and grateful, but like he probably won't be if the Steelers take him to the ground.
Listen, Jameis Winston is a character.
He's a national treasure. I'll give him that. Like he is. You can't hate this man.
No, I don't.
You can't. Like I have a lot of respect for Jameis Winston as an individual, as a player, and just as a character. Really, I mean, like
he's entertaining. He's very enjoyable to watch.
Whatever he
for a lot of reasons.
Whatever he does, like it's just you always got to watch what he's going to say or what he's going to do. Jameis Winston is that guy.
He's like a hype man in a sense, you know. He's like he's an unintentionally funny guy. He's just a hype man in a lot of ways, you know. He's a meme. He's a walking meme.
In a good way. In a good way.
In a good way. But I'm hoping that hoping we can put some doom on his day come Sunday, man. And maybe using 3 of those outside linebacker packages would be a great way to hit home and get to Winston, especially. Because if there's times that the Steelers can't hit home, that's when you utilize those 3. They haven't had the opportunity to do it a lot this year. They haven't.
Now you do.
Now you do. You got 4 guys that are capable of doing it, and you can rotate any figuration of those 4 in those 3 outside linebacker sets. It's deadly, dude.
Oh yeah,
it's deadly. And then that's what's going to allow this defense to be even stronger and hopefully improve in a lot of ways and maybe blanket some of the issues in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we see some of that this Sunday, man. I thought would really entertain that idea. I remember when the Steelers first tried doing that when they brought in Melvin Ingram. If y'all remember him, man. He wasn't here long. He had issues because he wasn't seeing playing time or he wasn't starting.
Yeah.
I guess you forgot about 5'6", opposite of Watt. That's why you weren't starting. You were brought in for a specific role. You were great in that role. Well, clearly you didn't understand your role. Maybe things were said that you were promised that clearly was brought back on, and maybe you were thinking something else. But
I don't think we'll ever know about that whole situation. It was very odd.
It was years ago. But I remember when they first started interpreting it was so successful.
You couldn't stop it.
It was incredible. And now they got all the tools to do it again. It's awesome, man. It's really cool. It's a huge bright spot of just how healthy this team's getting. And Corey Trice coming back.
Indeed. Part of that secondary?
He's gonna play a factor in special teams. You know, I like to see him in sub packages. Maybe put him outside opposite JPJ or Dante if you want to. Play him as a dime backer for sure. You know, where's he gonna fit in with Cam Sutton back?
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting too, because Trice was basically, you know, that extra hand there, and Sutton was when Trice was on IR since Sutton's come back from suspension. Now that they have both, what's their game plan on using those individuals? Because I'm not sure if you noticed, but Sutton, he was playing more in nickel than Benny Bishop did last week.
He was. You're right. So
I think Tomlin alluded that it was more so of, you know, just game planning, you know, because of Sutton's experience, and they wanted to just have that experience go up against Joe Burrow in the offense and whatnot, which I can understand because Son has, gone up against caliber players like that. He has that experience, unlike Beanie Bishop. So maybe it was just more of a scheme thing, a defensive playbook thing that they wanted to do. Just, have Son out there more, but, like having Son and Beanie Bishop, still rotate at the nickel cornerback position is still something that, I see them still doing.
Yeah, I don't know how exactly they're going to split those guys up, because you can't forget Casey either. I mean, he sees a decent amount of snaps. You got Sutton, who played, I think, how many snaps last week?
I don't even know, but I just know it was more than Beanie.
I mean, yeah, because Beanie, according to the stats here, he only played 6 snaps, did Beanie. Cam Sutton played 45.
Yeah.
Casey played 15.
I don't think it's because of Beanie's play. No, his play's actually been improved as the season's progressed. I think it was just, they wanted to have a better mentality or management of the defense and who they wanted to have out there, I guess.
Well, a big reason for that is Sutton can play safety. They want to protect the deep ball as much as they can.
Yeah, true that.
So that's why Sutton saw a lot more time. They were really trying to confuse and blanket as much of that as they could. So that's probably why Sutton got a more significant amount of playing time. Almost 40 more snaps than Beanie. Well, with Trice coming back, is that going to be reduced? Are we going to see a rotation of those guys? Keep them fresh, keep them healthy. Maybe it's all about a matchup situation. Maybe it's one of those things. I would like to see Corey Trice come in and go up against Njoku if they want to blanket Njoku. Maybe it's one of those situations that they just view it from a matchup aspect. Okay, who can we put on a certain guy to blanket him and limit his ways? Who's the best player we can put up against this guy? Maybe that's where Corey Trice comes back into play.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Steelers use a lot of their depth pieces in this game. Now that they're getting fully healthy and they have a lot more to use and a lot more in their back pocket and in their arsenal, I'll be very interested to see how the Steelers utilize a lot of their guys. I think it's a very, very, very good positive for the defense because we can use a lot of guys. A lot of these guys can come in and make plays and be significant. It's a huge plus for this defense when we really need it the most.
Yeah,
at the most important time of the season. So it's all good there for the defense, man. So that's awesome. That's one of the huge positives when you look at the Steelers team. They're getting really healthy. There's not many significant injuries I can look at this team and think of, oh no, that's very damaging.
No, not really.
Outside of the season-ending injuries from Tanu and Daniels, but Broderick Jones has gotten better. He has, and McCormick has played lights out.
No, he's fit so well as the right guard, man.
Mason
He's done
McCormick
very good.
McCormick has been a pleasant fill-in.
I believe he has yet to give up a sack.
Same thing with Frazier.
Frazier, man. Frazier's been a dog at center. Him coming back after the bye.
Yeah.
I mean, Frazier's just a beast, man. Just pancake after pancake. I mean, Frazier McCormick, the future at center and guard right there. I mean, like, you're already seeing it.
100%. Yeah, I mean, Frazier's been, since we've gotten him back, he's been, Frazier's always been that guy this year. He had snap issues earlier on, but not much ever since that Colts game, which is good. Hopefully that's out of his system. We see a little
especially
less of that.
with Russ in at quarterback under center.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to see.
Yeah, especially since Frazier didn't see a lot of playing time with Russ.
No, yeah, that's true.
That's been a non-issue.
Glad that you brought that up. That's very true.
It's been a non-issue.
Yep.
Who has been a non-issue, especially last week? We gotta give him props, man. Shout out to Brody.
Broderick Jones, man.
Shout out to Brody. He was very good at giving Russ time and protecting him, and I find this more significant than anything, man. Being a leader.
Yes, because like when Pickens did that, I believe it was the taunt where after the moon ball, he did the taunt and the refs flagged him for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
If I remember, I believe Broderick went up there and he kind of like talked to Pickens and just, shared some words with him, tried to calm him down or, just indicate some leadership, which is a great thing to see from Broderick.
He did that several times.
I'm very happy to see that from Broderick Jones.
He did that several times.
That's a hell of a thing to see from Broderick. As an offensive lineman, a guy of his pedigree at that's something that you kind of want to see from there. But,
not just that, but, yeah, an improved, role as a leader for sure, especially being the first rounder last year.
Yeah.
But his body language the way he goes out there and plays, and his demeanor, and his attitude, he has grown in that. We got to give him all the props in the world. Earlier this season, there were a lot of criticisms for Broderick for right reasons.
Penalties and just sacks given up. I mean, just not getting the right block in, and even communication problems at that.
Yeah, because there were times, I mean, he was just standing there. Everyone else was moving, and he wasn't, But past couple weeks, he's played lights out. He's done very well. And last week was an eye-opener because it shows, like, this guy is really growing. This guy is doing better. He's not really giving up sacks. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's not committing penalties. He's growing up in a lot of ways for this team. I think that's awesome.
It is. It's a great thing to see. It's something that me and Dan have been vocal about because we still think highly of Broderick Jones. And
oh yeah,
as long as they move him at left tackle, you take him away from right tackle. Fatano comes back from his injury next season. You put Broderick over at left tackle and keep him there permanently. I think that's where we could see the best Broderick Jones. I really do.
Right.
I still think highly of Broderick Jones, man. I was ecstatic when we selected him. I shout out, you're going to protect my quarterback. He wasn't really doing it so well right tackle earlier, but lately he's been playing very solid. I'm glad to see it, and I hope he keeps it up. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, does he still have his issues? Yeah. Could there still be issues reoccurring? Probably. But, when he's doing good, we got to give him props. It's only right. We criticize him when he's bad and give him props when he's good. It's just how us fans work. You do bad, you're going to get criticism. That's just how a fan works. When you're great, we got to give you the good. We got to give you the props because that's only fair. It's only right. So shout out to Broderick, man. I'm hoping it continues because I do see him as a future core piece, a pillar for this O-line. I still do. I still believe that.
That's what Omar Khan's seen. That's why he traded up to get him.
Most of the criticisms is mainly due to the Steelers and their mismanagement of Broderick.
That's what it comes down to. They did not treat his development properly. They didn't.
They haven't. No, I feel like they're still botching it. But where he's stepped up in this position, knowing that he can finally play in one pure spot, he's improved there. I don't know how the flip's going to be if they do that flip at left tackle. He's been away from the position for now 2 years, but perhaps maybe he fits like a glove. We'll see what happens. If they do switch him over. We don't know what the future holds at left tackle. I would hope Broderick, but is Dan Moore going to get brought back? Are they going to view Broderick as the swing guy because no one else can do it? I'd hope not. I mean, otherwise, why would you draft a swing tackle in the first round?
I would just sign a swing tackle, and if they can't contain Dan Moore, who's actually been playing very well as well this year over at left tackle, if they can't retain him, I mean, like, there is a reason why you selected Broderick Jones. Omar Khan did indicate during the scouting combine that he was drafted to be a left tackle. Eventually, he will play at left tackle.
Yeah. That
might be next year. And yeah, that time away from left tackle, I mean, like, that may affect him. It may not. I don't know. I mean, he played his best ball at left tackle. We saw the college tape. We saw how well he was at left tackle. Maybe the experience and the comfortability at left tackle, maybe he just fits on like a glove, and it's just like, hey, like, this is exactly what we expected from Broderick.
Well, when Fatano is healthy, it's a no-brainer. Move him over to left tackle.
Yeah.
Move him over to left tackle. He should only come back to right tackle for emergency reasons. But where he's standing now at right tackle has been very good the last 2 weeks. So shout out to him, man. But I feel like where he stepped up as a leader and his attitude, that's huge to me.
It really stuck out.
Like, those are two of the biggest things I've noticed about his demeanor and his body language mostly is that. His play on the field has improved. Yes, that's large as well. But in that area, I think that's really like puzzle. It's not puzzling, but it's pleasant rather to see from a young guy like him, because sometimes he does have his issues on social media where he talks and just goes off on fans on certain things because they're criticizing him, and I feel like he's kind of retracting some of that, and he's really starting to grow a little more. So I want to give him props for that, and him as a player, and where he stood as a tackle and holding his ground and giving Russ time. That's significant as well. So all the props to Broderick, man.
Hey, Broderick, just keep at it, man.
Yeah. So I still feel him as a core piece, and where he's improving, that's exactly what we want to see, man. So we'll see what the future holds for Broderick. We'll see if he can continue to improve and remain consistent in this manner. So it's gonna get tougher down the stretch, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I would anticipate him going against a guy like Myles Garrett a couple times this Sunday, because they're gonna move Garrett around for sure.
Yeah.
So Broderick still has to step up, but he stepped up the past couple games. So shout out to him. Shout out to the whole O-line. Seems like they're really starting to find a connection. They're really starting to find a little bit of a groove here, a little bit of a movement.
That's great to see.
And for the most part, knock on wood, everyone's been healthy for the past couple of weeks. That's huge. We can't get away from the O-line injuries. You know, earlier this season, especially.
That just kept piling on.
But so far, I would say ever since Frazier came back, they've been as steady as they can be. Let's hope it remains the same, man, because once that remains, the offense as a whole will find success. That's where it really begins at. So I think that's awesome, man. We just have high expectations from him, and we know he can succeed. Exactly. He's young and growing, says Dev H. He is. Gotta give him all the props, man. Nice Tokes. Good to see you in the chat, man. Says can't lose this one. Can't lose this one. Agreed. We can't lose to the Browns. No, man. Really, for any AFC North game, we just can't lose right now. We already lost one, and any others would be damaging. Got to keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
Got to keep winning. Y'all think we draft another guard in the mid-rounds to replace Sayamalu? I don't rule it out, no. Electric Visuals, I definitely don't rule that out.
That's a possibility.
Well, first of all, it's kind of why they drafted McCormick this year, because they knew Daniels and Herbig were on contract years. Sayamalu is going to be the same thing next year. So could they add in someone else? Could they add in an extra piece? I don't doubt it. In fact, I don't hate it either. The more they add on the O-line, the better, because you're going to have to replace him at some point. Unless James Daniels comes back and McCormick gets moved over to left guard. I don't know.
Would they? I mean, it's not out the realm of possibility because.
But do you bring James Daniels back when McCormick is playing lights out at right guard?
Yeah, I don't know if you do that, because I was going to say, it's not out the realm of possibility for the Steelers to move a guy that played a year at this position and then move him to the other side, because that's what they do.
I know.
That's what they do. Is what Pat Meyer has basically built his resume on, which I'm not, and still am not a fan of. I'm not. I feel like you just put them in their natural position. That's where they're going to perform the best at. But, I mean, I don't know. Because even with the injury, I think Daniels is still going to get a decent amount of interest and amount of,
Oh, yeah.
amount of money coming from free agency and whatnot. Drafting a guard, mid-rounds, I could see it just to fulfill interior depth and whatnot. I know they still have Spencer Anderson, who's really settled in well as that swing guard, but at left guard, really, I felt like Anderson, when he stepped in when Sayamalu was hurt with his injury earlier in the season, I thought Anderson was pretty decent, actually.
Anderson is a better left guard than he was a right. That's why they put in McCormick when Daniels got hurt.
Yeah.
Because Anderson just wasn't holding it down there at right guard. At left guard, he's a little better. Is he the solution? Is he the fix?
If you're not down
I don't know.
with that,
I think he's a depth piece.
we've got 2 words for you.
DK is easy with a 199. Says, let's mollywop Cleveland. See you in Philly. Mollywop. I like that phrase.
Mollywop.
All I want to do is beat Cleveland, man. At the end of the day, all I want to do is beat Cleveland, because I don't like them. I don't like Cleveland, and I'm still upset about the loss a couple weeks ago. So if we can beat Cleveland, that's a win in my book.
We got to, man.
Yeah, we do. And I'm very confident that the Steelers will, man. I really am. So we'll see what happens. I'm very hopeful, and I'm feeling good going into this game.
Shroom says belt to ass incoming.
Belt to ass. What was the Rocks line in 2012? What was it? Boots to ass?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Boots to ass or whatever. So I would love a dominating victory. Am I expecting one? No. But would it be great? Absolutely. I think that'd be the best revenge.
That would be the best revenge, but I see it being competitive.
As a matter of fact, the weather's going to be a lot better in this game. The weather played an effect for sure versus the Browns the last time. Granted, the Steelers came back, they got the lead, and they still lost it. But the weather's going to be a lot different. A lot different. It's not going to be a blizzard. It's not going to be white out.
It's not going to look like a snow globe, though the visual was fantastic.
It was.
Seeing a football game in the snow is just like old times.
Yeah.
Like the old days. It's just a glorious thing to see. It's beautiful. It's beautiful football.
I love it, man. I wish we would see more of it. That's football weather to me. But no, the weather's going to be a lot different. So you look at it like that, yeah, I mean, everything could be looking in favor to the Steelers, man. So we'll see what happens, man. I predict Russ throws for at least 310 yards this game. I'm going to say minimum 225. Minimum. And that's probably with the run game finding a lot of success.
I'm gonna say about 245. I'm gonna go 20 yards over. 245.
245?
245.
Okay, I mean, we'll see, man. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, Russ is just slinging it right now, man. No matter what the targets are, you know, the wide receiver position still might have some concerns, or did have concerns earlier. With Russ, it seems like all we needed was the quarterback to feed these guys and give them the chances. And a lot of these guys have. Shout out to Calvin Austin. In my opinion, he's been the wide receiver too all season.
Yeah.
Keeps making plays. Shout out to Calvin, man. Van Jefferson, when he has targets, he's coming down with them. I wish we would get Mike Williams involved more, but if we're getting what we got last week, perhaps Mike Williams can just be the bench warmer.
Yeah, and it's not really that big of a deal because if these other players that are ahead of them are getting the opportunities and the targets and they're executing, then we can't really hate on that at all.
No.
You can't.
No.
Yeah, yes, of course we want to see more Mike Williams. There's a reason why the Steelers traded for him. And, you know, Mike Williams made that great catch against Denver. We want to see more of that. We want to see more of what Mike Williams could bring to the table. But again, if these other guys are making the plays, you can't hate it entirely.
No, I don't, man. I don't, especially with the way Russ is just.
If you smell what Russ is cooking.
You know what? I like that. I can ride with that.
Could you consider him the final boss?
No, that's TJ Watt.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's TJ Watt. Come on,
Okay.
have you seen Cody? Yeah. I mean Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just saying. TJ Watt is the final boss. At the end of the day, TJ Watt is the final boss. But if you smell what the Russ is cooking, damn, man, that's kind of fire. I don't know how you got. That's kind of fire.
I don't know, like, because he's cooking and I don't know.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah.
Mr. Unlimited. I don't know, man.
You see Najee's
How is that our quarterback? A year ago, I would have been baffled by the idea.
He is.
I'm glad he is.
But yeah, you see Najee, you know, filming Russell Wilson looking like Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
You see that?
He's like Bruce Wayne. That's fun. Najee's a character, man. We're going to talk about Najee shortly, but I want to thank the sponsor of today's video. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this live stream as we take a look at the Steelers' offensive playmakers betting lines, man. Some of these look kind of locks, dare I say? You look at Russell Wilson, over 227. That's a lock.
Lock.
With the way Russ is cooking right now, that's a lock. George Pickens, he didn't even have 50 versus the Browns last time. But he is a little hurt. You know, he has a hamstring injury. But you always got to favor Russ, throwing the ball to Pickens and feeding him. So if you guys want to take that over, I actually like that. I like that number. Najee's been cooking it all year, man, especially the past couple of weeks. Najee, over 61, I feel like that's low. Some of these are kind of favorable, man, especially Russ and Najee specifically, in my opinion. Because that front seven of the Browns is still very weak, very suffering.
Oh, yeah, of course. Plus, they have Devin Bush in there, too. So
Yeah, which is always hilarious.
Uh-huh.
So Russell Wilson and Najee's over-under, their lines here, I feel like they're low. So if you guys want to take that, I would. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna look at them right here on the prop builder on betus.com, man. They got a prop builder you guys can use. The over-unders, the player doubles, touchdowns, first touchdowns, passing, rushing, receiving stats, everything. Everything you guys want to look into for all the games, for all the week 14 and every week of the NFL season, they got it for you, man. But in regards to passing yards, you got every single game here for the Steelers and the Browns. You got Jameis Winston over 249, and you got Russ at 228. Taking Russ's over, man. Now let's go to rushing yards. Rushing yards for Najee. Let's see what the betting lines are. We got Jameis. They even have Jameis Winston's rushing yards here, man, which, I mean, He can run it sometimes if he has to. So Jaylen Warren over 33.5. Najee Harris over 62.5. I'm gonna take Najee's. Najee's is eating right now. Nick Chubb over 39.5. What do you think? Over or under? 39.5 for
Chubb,
Nick.
I mean, he had over 50 against the Steelers plus the 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I think he can do it.
I'm gonna take his. Yeah, I'm gonna take his over.
Chubb isn't the old Chubb. It might take him a long time to get back to that old form if he ever will because of the injury. But I still view Chubb as a threat. I do. Like Chubb is just built like a tank. He's a different beast.
Agreed. Now we're gonna look at the receiving lines. The receiving yard lines. Calvin Austin. What? Calvin Austin over 18.5. That's it?
All he needs is one catch over
That's
20,
it?
and he's good.
That's it. Okay. Pat Fryermuth over 29.5. He's covered that the past couple games.
He had 64 last week.
Najee Harris over 12.5.
Yeah.
How often is he going to get the ball in the receiving game? You can anticipate at least one screen. He could get that.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy over 69.5.
He's had 70 yards or more in the past 5 straight games. I would go with that.
I'm gonna take it. Yeah, let's take it.
I would go with that.
Now I know this is asking for a lot here,
all you need is 70 from Judy, and you're good.
You know, I'm not even gonna take Pickens. I'm not even gonna look at anyone else. That's all we're gonna take here. So yeah, I mean those are just the passing yards, the rushing yards, the receiving yards. They also got sacks, interceptions, pass interceptions, receptions. They got everything, man. Like, they got a lot here. So a lot of fun stuff. They even have touchdowns. Touchdowns should be interesting. Just out of curiosity, what are the lines here? So Najee Harris is in the negatives. Pickens is at 100 flat. You got Chubb, you got Jeudy, Warren, Njoku, Calvin Austin. So I'm not gonna take any touchdown selection here yet, but I mean I'm gonna take a lot of these overs here. So Russell Wilson over in his yardage, Najee Harris over in his rushing yardage, Nick Chubb over in his rushing yardage, Calvin Austin over in his receiving. Same thing with Najee and Jeudy, man. So if you guys want to tail this, feel free to do so at betus.com. If you guys are looking for a new sportsbook this season, huge shout out to them, man. They got a lot of great props, the fastest payouts in the industry, fast and easy deposit withdrawal process, 24/7 personalized service every day, live wagering on all major sports and games, plus a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at betus.com today. Huge shout out to BetUS for sponsoring with us this season. Just please gamble responsibly. I'm really favoring a lot of those, man.
It's all very doable.
I really am, man. I really, really am. That's very interesting. You know, I honestly, I might favor Warren in this game too, man. Warren is really starting to get a groove going. He's really starting to get moving. So, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff there. If you guys wanna look at that, man, for sure. No brainer on Austin. That's what I'm saying. Like that's it.
18.
18.5.
He can do that.
That's it for Calvin.
Oh yeah.
In fact, what is Calvin's game log? He's covered that the last 2 games.
Yeah.
He's covered that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games this year.
Yep.
And you can anticipate Calvin Austin to get involved with Russ. And visuals, yes, I agree. He says Wilson turning Austin into his Lockett, 100%. You know, I thought Roman Wilson would get that, but Wilson has only played 1 game. He's on IR. Probably won't play for the rest of the season. But seeing a guy like Calvin Austin step up in that sense, in Roman Wilson's absence, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Austin, you know, the similarities are there when it comes to Lockett, return specialist. You know, Lockett's more of the he's not that much bigger. He's like maybe an inch higher and a couple pounds heavier, but now the similarities are right there. And Lockett, I mean, like he was always Russ's prime target. If it wasn't Doug Baldwin, you know, when he was there, it eventually became Lockett. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Lockett was just a credible guy. He still is to a degree for Seattle now, but yeah, I mean, like I see the comparisons. I really do.
You know, one thing that impresses me a lot about Calvin Austin is, you know, he was out all of his rookie season. It was unfortunate, but you know, it allowed him to kind of just learn the game a little more, learn the system, and adapt himself. But ever since playing from last year and this year, right? Technically his second year of full playing time. He has really made plays from 4 different quarterbacks. 4.
Yeah.
From Mason, from Kenny, from
Mitch.
Fields,
And Fields.
and Wilson.
Yeah.
Because he had a great game versus the Chargers with Fields, man. And he's been connecting almost every week with Russ.
Yeah.
He had a deep ball completion many times with Mason. He had a great long, deep completion from Kenny versus the Raiders last year. Like Calvin is very underrated. He's such a secret weapon, and I feel like when the ball is targeted his way, he's just a strong threat. Like you just trust him to come down with the ball. You trust him to make plays, no matter if it's like an intermediate pass, no matter if it's short and he's got to use his yak ability, or especially when it comes to the end zone or the middle of the field. He's a playmaker.
Yeah, and not just that, but he's a tough guy as well. I mean, last week in Cincinnati, I mean, the guy was just taking hits. Like, I think it was Cam Taylor-Britt. It was the hit before Austin went out with a head injury. He's all good now. He cleared concussion protocol throughout the week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Cam Taylor-Britt came down and hit him like he was Bill Goldberg. Like, he just speared the ever-living crap out of Calvin Austin. That wasn't the only hit either by Austin that he took. Like, Austin took some hits, and, you know, he just got right back up and shook him off.
Yeah, he's a tough little son of a bitch, isn't he?
He's a tough guy. He is, for his size, man. Usually guys of his size, they get hit like that, they don't get back up. But Austin, man, he just shook it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I see you guys in the chat talking about Tyler Booker. You want to talk about another big freak mauler on the line from Bama, dude? Dude, if you want to make this line even stronger, I mean that's just filthy.
They wanted to.
That's just filthy. I mean, we'll have to see where the Steelers' needs lie, but they have the capital. And if they have more than enough of their needs fulfilled in free agency, maybe receiver, maybe quarterback, we'll see. Maybe cornerback, I don't know. They have all the flexibility in the world to do it. And I don't hate it whatsoever, man. You know, that's for off-season talk. It's never too early for off-season talk, but as of right now, I'm really just focused on the Browns right now. One game at a time. I'm really focused on a potential playoff push. And as we get closer, I get a little more antsy, I get a little more excited. And the more this team kind of proves that they are different in many games and they can stay with any offense and they can come back from certain deficits and the defense can force turnovers, I get a great feeling that this team is truly different, that we can actually have something special with this team. I really do. I'm hoping with this Browns game that they not only go in and get a win, but they show some consistency in a lot of ways from last week. What we saw last week, how much more of that can we see this week? I think that's going to be the biggest question mark. Just how consistent is this team? How improved are they from that loss versus the Browns? Was it really the wake-up call they needed? Last week it was, but how much of a wake-up call is it? How long-term effect will that have for the season?
Now they're going to have to show it against Cleveland. Agreed. They really are.
Genty to the Steelers? Dude. He's a cowboy. He's a cowboy, man. I think we all know that.
I don't see any other team that would select him.
Ashton Genty is going to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry's just going to pull the trigger when he's available for Dallas there.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to have an early pick. They're going to get Genty because they need a running back. They're not going to draft Sanders. They're not even going to get Deion Sanders. They're not going to do that. You don't extend Dak Prescott to a ridiculous amount of money with that contract and then draft Sanders and then hire his dad. You don't do that.
No, I think Genty is going to be a Dallas Cowboy come April, man.
And honestly, Genty, he should be the Heisman.
Wow, really?
He should be, dude. He's carrying Boise State.
I know he is.
He's got over 2,200 rushing yards and 28 touchdowns rushing.
Dude, this guy is just... He's almost having another Melvin Gordon season. Remember Melvin Gordon had that crazy college year?
I'm serious. Like, he should be the Heisman. There's no quarterback that sticks out to me that should win the Heisman, and I don't think it should be Travis Hunter. I don't.
No.
I'm not taking anything away from Hunter. I mean, the guy is versatile. He can play offense, defense, play a lot of snaps for both positions. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hunter's a great talent. He's definitely going to be a top 5, top 3, arguably, in the upcoming draft. But no, I think Genty has earned the right to be the Heisman this year. I do.
We'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting race for that. It's gonna be a fun watch for sure. Genty is going to the Patriots. Patriots have a lot more problems. They need a receiver.
They have Ramondre. I think they're good.
They need a receiver, bro. We getting Higgins at free agency, says Shroom. Please. It's been my free agency wish list for a few months now.
He's number 1.
Either Higgins or Godwin.
He's number 1 for you.
Higgins or Godwin. I'll take either. I prefer Higgins because he's younger, but I'll gladly take Godwin because Godwin is a stud. If you want more of a leadership role, Godwin's the guy. But I want Higgins. I am standing firm. And personally, I think signing a wide receiver would be better than drafting one. Are the Steelers in a position right now to have to develop another wide receiver? I'd rather just get a proven significant playmaker and just finish it. I think it'd be a lot better.
And I brought that up to Longer to the Max because he asked, do you see the Steelers drafting a wide receiver? I said it's certainly a possibility, but considering on what you'd seen from Omar Khan through various reports and how many times he was scorching the earth for a wide receiver through the trade market, you tell me that when it comes to the expected wide receiver free agency market with the amount of names that's expected to hit there, he wouldn't be aggressive in signing a guy when that's literally what he's done over the course of 2 off seasons.
Right.
Is sign big name free agents, sign guys left and right, get guys in here to fix positions.
Yeah.
You're telling me he wouldn't do that to wide receiver? He 110% would.
I'd hope so. I think it'd be the better move. Would it be more expensive? Sure, but we got the cap to do it. Especially, I mean, we got to resign Russ. I think he's definitely going to be a Steeler next year, especially with how much of a push this team can make. But
I think they're running back with Russ, yeah.
how much is he going to cost? 20, 25 minimum?
I don't know.
Minimum? Maybe he takes a pay cut. I don't know. What's the future hold for Justin Fields? I don't know. That's all for offseason talk, but it's never, you always got to think about it. You know, like.
Oh, I think about it, every now and then.
Because the Steelers are in such a great spot at the quarterback position, but this might only be like a 1-year thing where they have both of them. I'd love for them to run it back, but Fields is going to take some other quarterback opportunities, and I think Tomlin would prefer to keep Russ than Fields. Unless because Fields, man, he's been vocal that the coaching is so different from Chicago to Pittsburgh. When he was on Hayward's podcast, Hayward asked, coaching, Pittsburgh or Chicago? He said Pittsburgh before Hayward even finished the question.
Without hesitation.
Would he?
And yes, it's night and day. I mean, you see what Matt Eberflus has been?
Come on.
There's a reason why he got fired.
But would Fields want to leave that? Does he want a starting opportunity, or does he want to stay with Tomlin? And why would Russ leave? Why would Russ leave? Why would either of them leave?
Because the bond that Russ and Tomlin have built. I mean, what was it reported? 6 hours they spent on that interview alone.
Yeah,
like they were just talking about football and life and just God knows what. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting room just to hear what they were talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that bond has just built week by week throughout the season. Russ is not going to want to leave that, considering what he dealt with in Denver with Nathaniel Hackett and then Sean Payton. Hackett had no idea how to control a team, how to run a team.
Yeah.
Sean Payton never wanted him. And Tomlin just opened his arms, just openly welcomed Russ to Pittsburgh. And Russ just quickly, he was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Mm. And you see the success that Russ has. I don't think Russ is going to want to step away.
No, especially if Arthur Smith is retained.
But as far as Fields goes, because Fields is a competitor. He wants to compete. He wants to be a starter. He's a guy that wants to give it his all under center. He's a guy that truly believes that he feels he is starter caliber, and I feel like he has indicated that when he stepped in for Russ earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when it comes to the NFL now, you look at various other teams looking for quarterback. Russ could be looking at those options and be thinking, hey, like they could use my assets. I could be there and I could compete for them. I could be a help in what they're looking for.
Right.
But at the same time, it's the culture aspect. It's the vibe with the team and the teammates, the bond he has with Russ and Tomlin as well, and just the city and whatnot. Would Fields want to leave that? Like the opportunity to start and compete for a starting job. Yes, I mean there's several other teams that could be looking to get a guy like Justin Fields and his talents, just to see what Fields learned from sitting behind Russ.
Well, it's all what matters to Fields. Does he want a starting opportunity, or does he want to leave the best coaching situation he's been in his entire pro career?
Or could it be that? Yeah. He even told Ryan. He admitted to Ryan Poles, like, I want to be here. Even when Russ signed, he was like, I want to be here.
Of course.
So maybe that doesn't change.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see what happens. I mean, that's offseason talk. But one thing's for certain, I don't think Russ is leaving. Why would he want to leave? Why would Russ want to leave?
I don't think Russ leaves. I think he sticks around. I think they give him a decent 3-year contract. I'm going to say 3-year.
2-year.
You say 2?
2.
I think they go 3. I think they go that extra year.
Well, if it's 3, it might be 3-year, because you got to think quarterback market. I want to say 3-year 90, but I think that's low for the market. So probably 3, 110, 120.
Yeah.
You got to think about the market.
Market-wise, yeah.
Unless he goes cheap. I don't know. It's not going to be fully guaranteed, but maybe the majority of the guaranteed will be like the first year or two.
No, because I think Denver's still giving him guaranteed money after this year.
Are they really?
I think. It can't just be this year.
That don't mean Russ ain't going to try to pry more from the Steelers, man.
No, probably not. You know, he's going to want his money, but like I have to imagine that Denver's still going to have to guarantee him some sort of money after this year.
Right.
I think.
If you're not down with that,
Barbara FN.
we've got
Shout out
two
to Barber.
words for
With
you.
a $4.99 says first super chat of the week. Let's get it going. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you as always, bro. Appreciate you as always, man. It's just I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's all season talk, but it's okay to bring it up every now and then, as you know we are inching closer to that.
Philip Hopkins says safe to say you don't have to pay James Daniels. I'm assuming McCormick, I think, locked up that job unless Sayamalo leaves. Yeah, McCormick's going to be the starting right guard. I think Daniels is gone. Sayamalo still has 1 more year. Maybe he's a cap casualty, but I don't know if the Steelers want to open up a left guard hole. Maybe they let him run out his 3-year contract, and like Electric Visuals mentioned, maybe they draft a mid-round guy. Maybe they view Spencer Anderson as that guy. I don't know. But yeah, the fact they ain't got to pay Daniels is going to save them roughly 15 to 20 mil
Maybe
a year. Is Daniels going to get that now because of the injury? I don't know, but the guard market is crazy now. Thanks, Panthers. But we probably won't have to worry about that for another 3 years. So as long as McCormick is running on this run, he is. Arthur Smith ain't going anywhere. He's happy here. No, he declined a college head coaching job for, I think, what was it, North Carolina?
North Carolina.
And I know, like he's a favorite, quote unquote, for what, the Jets.
No, I heard it was he's a dark horse favorite. I don't see him going to the Jets.
No,
I don't. I think he's content with where he's at right now. I do. Plus, I don't know why the Jets would want to settle for Arthur Smith when there's like other options out there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like Smith is obviously a better coordinator than a head coach. If there's other better head coaches out there,
listen, Arthur Smith
like a Ben Johnson. If the Jets really want to try something,
I don't wish that on Ben Johnson. No. Why would first of all, Arthur Smith has proven nothing as a head coach.
No.
Why would any team interview him? I mean, if there was a team to do it, it would be the Jets.
that would be.
But no, he's accomplished nothing as head coach. Arthur Smith's not going to leave us. You know, if he continues to improve and help this offense, he might get a head coaching job after 2025, maybe. But I envision him staying here for at least until 2026.
Right.
I don't think he's going anywhere. And he's dialed up such a good connection with Russ. So I think those two will be back. So you can puzzle those two. Why would Tomlin want to get rid of those two? Like, those are the two main positions he fixed this offseason. He was so very, very aggressive and quick about fixing. He did. It's led to great success this season so far. More to come. Fingers crossed. Why would he want to get rid of any of them? Why
It just want to make sense.
No. If it ain't broke, don't fix.
No.
Do you run the risk of running dry next year by running it back? Probably. But at the same time, you're just going to have to fill the holes again. So why would Tomlin want to get rid of it, especially if it's so good right now? With what Russ is doing,
The headache he had to endure, though, it was his decisions to promote Matt Canada and having Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky as his quarterbacks.
Yep.
Those were his decisions. He learned from it. He knew he had to do better. He doesn't want to go back to that.
Arthur knows where his bread is buttered. That's a way to put it. Yo, that's a way to put it, my man. Do we need to start discussions on Minka? It's by far his worst season in coverage. I would, because I've seen him match up against tight ends all season, and he hasn't looked good. Has he been all bad? No. Because have the Steelers allowed a deep touchdown pass? Have the Steelers allowed a touchdown pass over 30, 40 yards? I would have to look deep into the stats, but I don't think so.
I don't believe they have, no.
That is the Minka Fitzpatrick effect. So, yeah, he's not getting the turnovers. He's not getting the interceptions. He's not the turnover freak he was the first 2-3 years as a Steeler. He's not. Is he getting blown up in coverage? Sometimes. Yes. It's hard to watch. Is he missing tackles sometimes? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
but
his coverage skills against Mark Andrews and Mike Gesicki back-to-back games, it's like they had the better matchup.
But
they won their matchups.
I think his impact is more important than a lot, honestly. I would like him to be making the plays. I like him to be a little stronger in coverage, but I think his impact speaks a lot. I think Minka's still having a solid year. Nothing crazy. It's not the best safety in the league type shit that we were preaching years ago, but
now, because, I mean, like, Minka has built his reputation off of those splash interceptions and making those plays and just being that benefactor of, getting turnovers and whatnot,
Yes.
right? Like, he was really the start of that when the Steelers traded for him.
correct.
And Minka hasn't done that in a bit. This year, he hasn't done it yet. And if it really is, as far as his impact goes, honestly, that's all I care about. Because if Dante Jackson's getting 5 picks, if everybody else is getting interceptions or causing turnovers, yes, I would like nothing more than Minka to be a part of that. I want him to get a piece of the pie. I want to see Minka do some of those plays. But if his impact is enough for teams to not look his direction, that's all I care about.
Yeah, there's a lot more that doesn't pop up on the stat sheet that Minka is playing a huge role in. So those are some of the things you got to think about with Minka. There are concerns in his coverage ability and, some miscommunication and, like I said, missed tackles and things like that. But I think he can still be a playmaker. I think his level of importance and the fact that teams have to game plan against him and how there hasn't really been anything too crazy in terms of deep ball allowance. It speaks a lot. It does. It's one of them silent things for the secondary, and that's all due to Minka Fitzpatrick. So I got to give him props on that. But we always say he's so due for a pick or so due for a Minka play, right? I said last week Watt was due for one of those Watt games, and God forbid he did, right?
You spoke into existence.
This time I'm going to say the same thing about Minka. Now, I know we've been saying it for a while, but I'm going to say specifically, I think this week is the time that Minka makes the play. That Minka has one of those Minka games that we haven't seen in a while. Fingers crossed. I'm really hoping, man. But, yeah, I agree. He's not living up to the contract. I'll give you that one. That I can agree on. But he's also allowing a lot of guys to just eat everywhere. That's where his impact is. Minka is a victim of his own success. Nobody wants to challenge him cutting down on his opportunities to get picks. That's it. Defenses or offenses don't challenge him. They don't. They really don't. Fuck, what was our hold on. Now I'm curious. What was our longest touchdown pass allowed?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I don't know where to look, but I'm going to try to look.
You would have to probably check the game logs game by game.
I'm not doing that.
Box score or whatever. Because I don't think you could be able to tell just like. There's no website that shows, like longest play allowed by a D. I don't think they do that.
Well, longest passing play that they allowed all season was 57 yards. I can't tell you who that was. But 57.
Was that Terry McLaurin?
Probably.
That had to have been Terry McLaurin because that was a long freaking play there by McLaurin. That had to have been McLaurin because I can't tell you who else that would have been.
I'll tell you in a minute.
No receiver really outside of McLaurin.
54 yards. So it wasn't Scary Terry.
Who the hell did it?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I'm really trying to think
Maybe
back.
was it Chase?
Jason, was it Chase?
Was it that long? No, it was 49 last week. I don't know. But all I know is the longest passing play we've allowed all season, 57 yards. I don't know if that was a touchdown or not, but it was 57 yards. When you compare it to all the other teams.
I'm really trying to think.
When you compare it to all the other teams, I mean, that ranks fifth in the league.
I can't tell you. Shoot.
Pretty significant.
Was it Pittman? Michael Pittman?
Pittman.
There's no way.
What?
There's no way.
If you're right on this. No, he had a long of 32.
Yeah, and that was the first play of the game.
Well, I don't know. Now I'm going to stay up all night trying to find it.
I don't know.
I'm going to stay up all night trying to find it.
It's whatever.
Johnson from the Chargers. Slayton. Maybe Slayton. Brees Hall. Oh, shit.
Oh, was it Hall? Oh.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, was it Hall?
It was. Hold on. I bet you're right. Hold on. Let me check.
Yeah, because that was a ridiculous play.
That was dumb.
I remember that.
That was dumb.
Now I remember that.
Yeah, it was.
There we go.
We
found the answer.
It was Brees Hall.
We found the answer. It was off a screen pass. I remember it was a screen pass.
Dante missed the tackle, and I was begging for my life to make the stop. Yeah, it was Brees Hall. But that's a screen pass. It's not like a deep ball where it's a play action and he throws it deep towards the sideline.
And they pull Morgan Burnett and whatnot. No, they haven't done that yet.
No, I can't picture a play where the defense has allowed something like that. Knock on wood. I'm not trying to fucking jinx us, but I haven't envisioned. I can't remember a play where we allowed that this year.
No, then let's hope to God that they don't start doing that.
Every big play they've allowed has really just been like yak yardage, for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a testament of just how important Minka is.
Yeah, Minka in fact made that stop.
Do you guys dislike the Patriots or the Ravens more? Ravens. Now that Brady and them are out the picture, I don't really dislike the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't really hate them.
No.
I just found them annoying that they kept beating us and that they were pretty much taking over the NFL for 20 years. When you look back at it, I mean, it was probably the best run in NFL history. You can't take it away. You can hate it. You can dislike it, but
yeah, they won 3 championships in 2000 and 3 in 2010.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're ever going to see something like that again.
Brady's the greatest of all time. 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said, "Oh, he's a system quarterback. Oh, he's a cheater."
Oh, well, watch him go to the NFC. He ain't gonna do that. He did that in his first season.
First season out of the AFC with a new team that was just hilarious with Jameis Winston the year prior, and took him to the Super Bowl. That's everything I needed to know. I'm like, this motherfucker's the GOAT.
Beat
like,
Pat.
This dude.
He
man.
is the only person to beat Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we'd be looking at Mahomes with 4 rings right now.
We have a higher scoring offense than the Chiefs, Texans, and Dolphins. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Imagine saying that last year.
By the way, I know we ain't got till Christmas. We ain't got till Christmas, but I'm gonna say ahead of time, if there is a Steelers team to beat Patrick Mahomes, it's this one. Every game Pat Mahomes has played us, it's been essentially a blowout. But if there is a Steelers team that can match up against Mahomes and the Chiefs, it is this one. The Chiefs do not scare me.
That's down for Christmas, of course. But yeah, I will say this: the Chiefs are beatable.
Very.
They are vulnerable. They are barely edging victories off the Panthers. To which shout out to Bryce Young, he's playing very good football, and the Raiders, the little what is it they call Black Magic, whatever the Chiefs
Voodoo magic.
voodoo magic that the Chiefs pull off.
Voodoo magic, yep.
And the referees are, like in their pocket and whatnot. So that's the Chiefs for you.
Yeah. Yeah. What year was that? 2022? Where we faced them in the playoffs?
Yeah, that was Ben's last game.
Isn't Mahomes like 3-0 against us?
Yeah, he's never lost to the Steelers. Counting playoffs.
And he's thrown a large margin, a large margin.
I remember
of 14 touchdowns and 1 interception in 3 games.
Yeah, I remember his first game.
6 touchdowns.
His first game against us. Yeah. Yeah, he scorched our defense in that one.
Has he thrown for 6 touchdowns ever again? Maybe. I don't remember. All I know is the Chiefs don't terrify me. Their defense is suspect. Their offense, they spread the ball around a lot, but it's just not as strong. It's not as strong. And that O-line is pretty soft. So if there's a Steelers team to beat the Chiefs, man, it's this one. It's this one. Chiefs aren't capable of a three-peat horrible overtime play, and defense isn't the save. Or isn't the same, losing Snead and Watson, hurting that secondary. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Their secondary is not the same.
Yeah, I don't know why they trade away Snead anyway.
Injuries?
It wasn't the injury. No, he was fine. The injuries weren't an issue for Snead.
He had injuries before that trade.
Last year?
Remember when the trade talks were in discussion and there was knee injuries coming up?
No, I don't remember that.
He had knee injuries.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there were knee injuries being spiraled during the trade talks.
I know he's dealing with it now. He only played, 6 games for Tennessee this year?
Yeah, he had knee injuries before.
I didn't hear anything about that when it came to trade talks. When he was
during
traded.
that entire trade situation, everyone was talking about his knees.
This is new to me.
Yeah.
This is new to me.
That's why people were hesitant on trading for him. Oh, he has bad knees. He's a cornerback in the downfall of his career.
Well, leave it to Tennessee to gamble on that. That's Tennessee for you.
Yep.
They're the team that traded away A.J. Brown, tried to replace him with Traylon Burks.
Yeah, where's he at?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Of course he's hurt.
I think he tore his ACL, unfortunately.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And they got rid of Mike Vrabel? They got rid of Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Wow, man. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I might have been absolutely hearing whatever, but I'm pretty sure L'Jarius Sneed had knee concerns before that trade situation.
I don't remember him being hurt last year for Kansas City because he was the lockdown guy for them. I could have sworn he played every game. If not every game, the majority of the games. The injuries never affected that play. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, there were knee issues before the trade deadline.
Who's there? It's Trent McDuffie, right? He's their new cornerback one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I like Justin Reed. I always liked Justin Reed.
Yeah.
I remember I won him over Edmonds that one year.
Yep.
But he's good. I like their linebacking core. I like their edge rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had George Karlaftis. They got
I don't want to preview too early.
Here, yeah. That's for Christmas or Christmas, whatever.
The Chiefs. Talent is undeniable. That's all I'll say.
Nick Bolton, man, he reminds me a lot of Demario Davis. I always thought Demario Davis was so mad underrated.
It still is to a degree. Even for his age in New Orleans,
Yeah.
he's still balling.
Yeah.
Doing the best he can.
What
down
the
there.
favorite Madagascar movie? The second one. The one where they go
I
to
only
Africa?
seen the first two. I never saw the third one or any other one that may or may not have come. I never paid attention.
The second one was hilarious. I haven't seen it since I was like, I don't know, 9. But I always remember that plane scene with the penguins.
The Penguins, yeah, they tried to stop it. He broke his iPod and whatnot. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was hilarious. I haven't seen that movie in years, though. I haven't seen that
It's
movie
been a
in
minute,
wow.
yeah. Now, who can forget the I like 'em junkie. That one, that scene, that was in the second one.
Moto.
I
Why are we talking about
don't know. He brought it up. Elephant brought it up.
Oh, man.
That was a good movie.
It was a good movie, yeah. I remember watching it as a kid. I haven't watched it in a while. God, that just brought back memories. Good God. I miss my childhood, man. I really do.
Good old days.
And I'm out of Gatorade. I gotta get more, man. With that being said, it is Saturday now. It is the weekend.
Saturday morning.
It is December 7th.
The 7th already in December.
Yes.
Christmas is coming around the corner.
It is December 7th.
Thank
So-
God.
Unbelievable.
'Tis the season to be merry.
I guess. December 7th, man. It is if I'm correct, it is let me do my math. It is the what? 83rd anniversary of Pearl Harbor now today? That's
Wow, is it?
insane. Yeah.
Is it?
83
Wow.
years ago. The day will live in infamy.
Wow.
I'm a World War II historian in a
Yeah.
sense. But yeah, December 7th, 1941, man. Rest in peace to all the victims of Pearl Harbor. Yeah. That day will always just stick to me, man. That day will always stick to me. I don't know why. But yeah, man, 83 years. That's insane. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, we're gonna okay.
Visuals?
Yes.
I like
Yes. I'm glad you mentioned it. Dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Oh boy.
Fucking Deontay Johnson, man. Oh, man. I love it. For those that didn't hear, Deontay Johnson is suspended 1 game by the Ravens because he refused.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Time out.
How dare the Ravens suspend Deontay Johnson?
Oh, I thought you were
Bro,
playing.
yes, I fucking knew.
Okay, I thought you were playing with me. I thought
No,
this
of course,
was news
of
to
course,
you.
I knew.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson was suspended 1 game by the Ravens for refusing to enter the Ravens and Eagles game. What type of? Who the hell does he think he is? Mr. Kenny Pickett over here.
I wonder,
you traded for me.
Hold on. I wonder where you got that attitude.
Hey, listen.
That was his quarterback, okay?
All I'm saying is I'm glad they're gone.
Omar Khan could not wait to get rid of him.
I don't miss.
He got rid of him the same week.
I know. In the same week. That was a great week, by the way. That was awesome.
Fantastic.
It literally just looking at it now, it completely just set the tone for the season, didn't
Yeah.
it? We traded for Deontay Johnson, which, by the way, that the Steelers win that trade 100%. It's not even close. The Steelers won that Deontay for Dante trade 100%. Dante Jackson might not get re-signed. They still won that trade. 5 interceptions. Are you kidding me? For 1 catch for 6 yards for the Ravens.
Deontay is now playing for his second team this season.
He's going to be a free agent next year.
He's tarnished his reputation. Let's be real here. Like, really, Deontay? I can't say I'm surprised, though. These were the reports coming out about Deontay, about his attitude and his demeanor in the locker room.
You know, I find it great because it's really more so like
That's why the Panthers got rid of Deontay.
it's really more so how does Mike Tomlin keep these guys in check? You know? He kept AB in check for God knows 8 years.
Yeah.
8 years.
Eight. And the Raiders couldn't contain him for 6 months.
Not even. He called Mike Mayock a racial slur, and they cut him
He
and got nothing.
Reportedly threw a punch at Mayock.
Yeah, I believe that 100%. But dude, how does Mike Tomlin keep these people in check, and then these players, these other teams, these other coaches can't handle them for 2 weeks?
No.
2 weeks. Find that hilarious. You know what's hilarious about Deontay, man? He literally just took the Claypool route. The Steelers traded Claypool away to the Bears. The Bears traded Claypool to the fucking Dolphins.
Yeah.
The Steelers traded away Deontay to the Panthers. The Panthers traded Deontay to the Ravens.
I wonder why.
He went down the same path. You get traded to a team, and that team trades you to another team. Find that hilarious, man.
I wonder why, based off of their play.
They peak with
based
the Steelers.
off of their attitude, their demeanor, their mentality. Teams ain't going to win to deal with that.
They peak with the Steelers, and they don't go anywhere else
Tomlin
after
will
it.
tolerate it for as long as he can. And once he's done, he's like, hey, Con, listen, I'm done. I'm done, okay? Like, I tried, I'm done. Get him out of here, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Get him out of here. And look. And it's crazy, too, because we were concerned about the need of a wide receiver, too. Like, is the absence of Deontay really going to hurt? It really hasn't, right?
Well, it's just Deontay. Like, I don't know why the hell he's on the sideline refusing to go into a game. Who the fuck are you, bro? Like, you just got traded. You're the 4th receiver that doesn't include tight end targets. You fucking bum.
Not to mention, you're playing for probably the MVP of the NFL. And you're not willing to play for him? Who the fuck do you think you are, Deontay?
That says a lot, doesn't it?
You're saying no to Lamar Jackson.
Bro, Lamar, who has 29 touchdowns. I think that's already a career high.
Deontay, what the hell, man? I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm not surprised either, but...
And what's funny is the game that he comes back, because the Ravens are on the bye, so he's suspended for the upcoming Ravens game after the bye. The game that he comes back from is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does he get involved in that game? Probably not.
Harbaugh's not going... No. No.
Does Deontay learn from this? Maybe. Maybe not. Most likely not.
No.
I don't expect it. Deontay has never learned.
And no, if he gets cut, no, I don't want him back.
No!
We're doing just fine without him. I not once this year did I say, damn, man, we shouldn't have traded Deontay. Never once did I say that. There were a lot of people that were saying, oh, Khan made a mistake by trading Deontay because we're suffering a wide receiver. I always held out the thought, you know what? It's too early to say that.
Yeah.
Let's give it some time. I never once this year said, fuck, man, I really miss Deontay. I don't miss Deontay worth shit. You know what what I did miss in the secondary? A ball hawking corner. And that's what we got for this guy.
Yeah, and seeing what happened to Levi Wallace come Monday night. Yeah, I am so happy and grateful, since this is Browns week, I am so happy and grateful that Levi Wallace is not on this team anymore. You want to talk about straight ass, burnt toast, garbage? Look at Levi. I swear to God, like Jameis Winston kept looking his direction. It's not hard to see why. Wallace was terrible.
Well, I
was pulling my hair out, begging for the Steelers to put JPJ in there last year. Thankfully, they finally did.
Right.
And it was all less of Levi, and I wonder why. And then the Broncos, like you want to ruin your season by playing Levi Wallace? Be my guest, Sean. Baby.
Clearly, dude. Yeah.
Be my guest.
Yeah, man. I think that was hilarious.
So,
honestly.
looking back at it, yeah, Steelers 1,000% won that trade.
Yeah, and you know it's disappointing to see Deontay go down this path. I can't say I'm surprised, but it sucks to see him go down this path because I liked Deontay. He wasn't as good as we thought he was.
No, but I'll say this, because he came back from an injury late last season. I praised him for his play, for his impact. I did. But it's just the fact of the matter, he never wanted to be here. He did not want to be here.
Never.
His mind was not in for the team, for the city, for the quarterback, despite who it was.
I just find it hilarious that these selfish bastards on this team last year are not getting the success that they could be having if all they did was grow the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Kenny Pickett could have had what Justin Fields has. Deontay Johnson could be eating with Russ. Those two guys they were entitled. Okay, bye. We don't need you. We can replace you. We had some of the worst football we've seen in fucking years with you two. Now we ain't missing you guys worth nothing. We're going to look in the rear view. You guys are in the rear view, man.
And here's a word of advice for the entire NFL. Never pick up a former Steelers wide receiver. It just never pans out.
No, only 2 instances did it work out. Emmanuel Sanders, and I would even give credit to Mike Wallace. To an extent. He didn't reach the heights.
I'll throw
when he was a
Plaxico
Steeler.
Burress in there. I'll throw him out
Burris
there.
is another
He
one.
won the Super Bowl.
Burris is another one.
Those three. At the very least, those three. Everybody else? Do I have to go down the list?
No.
Never, ever trade or sign a former Steelers wide receiver.
My only concern now is Pickens, yes. He needs to get level-headed, he needs to get straight, and he needs to mature. He needs to grow up.
100%. I agree.
He needs to grow up. He does. Love Pickens to death. He needs to grow up. AB too for the Bucks business still booming. Yeah, I mean, the guy's AB though. I mean, AB was just generational. I mean, you're never gonna see another receiver like AB. You're never gonna see a receiver at his size that dominant. And that was the best stretch of a wide receiver I've ever seen in my life.
And it's
I
crazy.
enjoyed every second, every guy. I saw it all. Every snap, every reception, every yard, every score. I saw it all.
It's crazy how his career ended by him taking off his jersey and running off the field. That will be the last time you'll ever see AB step on a football field
Yep.
in a playing manner.
Yep, man. I hate how it ended. I really do, man.
That's a damn shame.
Really hate how it ended. God damn it.
Now he's a memer. CTESPN
Yeah.
is AB.
Yeah. I love AB, man. I really do. You know, I still have a soft spot for AB. It's just, I don't know, man. I've never seen a wide receiver that dominant.
No.
You know, I mean, I grew up on Steve Smith. I grew up on Andre Johnson and
Hines Ward.
oh yeah, obviously. But you know, I grew up on Megatron, Larry Fitzgerald. I grew up on legends, Hall of Famers. I just never seen someone that dominant. Just insane, man. Very insane. Ah, good times, man. Good times. That's in the review though. It's in the past. It really is in the past. So cool stuff there, man. But yeah, I just seeing what Deontay did and where he's at, I find it hilarious. Oh, by the way, huge shout out to Eric Ebron. He retired on Wednesday.
That's right, he did. Yeah, former Steeler Eric Ebron.
One of those forgotten Steelers. Yeah, shout out to Eric Ebron. He officially retired for the NFL on Wednesday.
Yeah, good for him. Congratulations on his retirement.
He was with the Steelers for 2 years in 2020 and 2021. He had a solid year in 2020, was a significant piece for Ben. Not much in 2021, but in 2020, I thought he had an underrated season. I liked Ebron. It wasn't anything crazy, but I thought he was solid.
He was very serviceable, yeah.
So I want to give him a shout out. I heard he retired. I was like, you know what? That brought me back a little bit to 2020. Wild season that was.
The thing about Ebron as a Steeler, the thing that sticks out is to me about him at his time was his dance with Juju against the Bengals when we blew him out. Yeah, that dance on the sideline.
Yes, sir.
That vibe.
Dude,
right
that 2020 was a mood, man.
There. It was.
It was a mood. It was a
something.
vibe.
Yeah.
You know, the legitimacy of that season wasn't legit, but it was a vibe, man. It was just one of those seasons. You just had to enjoy it. Awful end, but you had to enjoy it. Ebron played a part in that, man. So shout out to Ebron, man.
He was decent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I don't want to. No, get his name out the chat.
PG.
No.
No.
PG. No, get his name out the chat.
Nah.
No. See, no.
Come on, I just got over nightmares about that, man. Come on. Dude, he got lifted up off the... no lineman should be lifted up off the
My
ground.
condolences to the people that ordered a Kendrick Green jersey.
That man wore 53 after Pouncey. You can't just gift him that number and think, oh, here's Pouncey's powers. No.
I am going to purposely mail a absolute box. I will deliver it myself. Okay, that's my job. I will purposely and personally deliver a box of coal to Kevin Colbert's doorstep. I will knock on his door. I'll wait till he answers. He might even have to sign for it. I don't care. I will purposely give Kevin Colbert a box of shit for Christmas because of what he did for that.
He
How dare
wanted
you.
he wanted to leave the
How
Steelers.
dare you?
He wanted to leave the Steelers in a great space by filling the quarterback position.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Like, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be where we're at. But if it wasn't for that, where could we be?
Where could we be?
I don't know, man.
Thanks, Colbert.
You gotta get through the rough to get to the green, man. That's how it works. That's how it works sometimes. So,
It's had to lead to the man under his wing to fix the issues.
yes.
Unreal.
Kevin Colbert, I mean, his last couple years, he was just delusional, wasn't he? Pretty interesting.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, where else would you put it? I don't know where else we would put it.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, like
how I feel.
he had his moments. He had his diamonds in the rough, but there was a lot of rough.
Right. Too much. But yeah. By the way, before we get on out of here, I want to ask you guys, who do you guys think should be MVP this year, man? Who do you guys think should be MVP? I'll tell you who I think should be MVP. Rob, who do you think should be MVP?
Well, Jackson's going to be in that category. So is Joe Burrow. Josh Allen's going to be in that category. The way that he has just led the team, really.
Boswell.
Boswell.
You're not wrong. He
You
has
can
my
make
vote.
that. You can make that argument, man.
He has
Like,
my
you really
vote.
could.
That's my vote. You know, this is a good time.
Barkley, man, he is really pushed to make that argument. You know what? Listen, I don't think he wins, but I think Barkley should win MVP.
Well, I mean,
I do.
no, that's who I would pick as MVP.
No, because you just look at the level of impact. Barkley is that offense for Philly. Let's be real. And we'll talk about him, next week for the preview, for the Eagles preview. But no, Barkley is that offense. If they didn't have Barkley, the Eagles are not where they're at right now. Let's be real.
No, I mean, I'm going to get into a serious, deep discussion because, I mean, I got a lot of things to say about that. But first, huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this live stream. You look at the MVP odds, man. The reason why I ask is you look at the MVP odds. Patrick Mahomes is actually plus 2,000, which is hilarious. He's not winning it. Josh Allen is the heavy favorite with the only negative betting lines here, negative 245 to 1. Lamar Jackson's at plus 800, and Barkley plus 350. Ooh. Barkley is my pick for MVP. I don't know about you guys. Barkley is my pick for MVP, and I'm going to put a whole 50 on it. Put a whole 50 to win a 175. I'm going to place this because I think that the talks are intensifying, and I think it's strong consideration that Barkley should win MVP. He should. Barkley has been incredible. It's very rare that we get running back play like this in this league. And I don't think there's been much quarterback play that has been so dominant and so one-sided that you can justify any quarterback winning MVP. I don't think there is. So if you guys want to take any of these guys or any of the other matchups here for not only Week 14 and every single money line that they have here, but, I mean, they still got all the cool little season props for you guys. They got Coach of the Year. They got Defensive Player, Defensive Rookie. In fact, what are some of these at? Let's look at Defensive Player. Where's Watt at? Where's Watt at? Watt is Watt's the only one underneath a negative negative 250 to 1 odds. He's still the favorite. Myles Garrett's plus 1,600. Ha ha! Who's the next closest? Garrett. Yeah, that's a large margin. It's a large margin, man. If you guys feel confident in that, feel free to place a wager, man. BetUS.com. If you're looking for a new sportsbook, take advantage, man. Take advantage of the 150% sign-up bonus. On your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today, man. Huge shout out to BetUS. You guys can take a look at all those perks, man. All those betting lines, all those season awards, man. They got all kinds of that. And, of course, they update throughout the year. So, but I think that's hilarious, man. Look at that margin. Watt is still the favorite. That's funny, man. That's just funny to me. So, yeah, huge shout out to BetUS, man, for sponsoring this live stream. Just please gamble responsibly. But yeah, Barkley should be MVP. He has what? 11 touchdowns on the year rushing?
I believe so. I thought he had more. Feels like he has more, though. Hold on.
He has 11. He should have more. You want to know why he should have more?
Because Jalen Hurts takes them all at the 1 yard line.
Jalen Hurts has 12 rushing touchdowns.
Uh-huh.
Barkley has been the most stopped running back at the 1 yard line. If the Eagles cut back on the tush push, Barkley could easily have already 20 rushing touchdowns. Already.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. 11, yeah.
Barkley is at essentially 1,500 rushing yards. We haven't seen a running back this dominant in years, bro. This shit never happens. This is generational type shit. This is some Adrian Peterson type shit. Barkley should be MVP. There's no quarterback play that is so significant, so one-sided that you can justify any of them being MVP. Maybe Lamar, because he's 29-3 in touchdown interception ratio. Pretty impressive for a running back and quarterback, right? But I also look at the record, 8-5. 8-5 is good. 8-5 is really good, actually. But compared to the Eagles' 10-2, Barkley is MVP all day. Barkley's MVP, bro.
I mean, the man has topped his career high. He's got 1,499 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, go along with 2 receiving touchdowns at that. The guy's just the impact player that Philly was looking for, you know?
What are the Giants thinking?
They're the Giants at the end of the day.
That is going to go down as one of the dumbest business decisions in NFL history, if it hasn't already. There's been a lot of dumb ones. A lot of dumb ones.
Yeah. But no, Philly's run away with the division. Barkley's been a big asset of that. He is just consistent. He is that offense. Because passing-wise, they're not really consistent at that. Hurts is not really a consistent passer.
No. Hurts only has 14 passing touchdowns.
The guy can easily get into the end zone with the brotherly shove, whatever, but...
Tush push.
Whatever they call it. Who gives a damn? But, no, like Barkley, like, he is just that guy.
The fact that Hurts has more rushing touchdowns than Barkley is criminal. Barkley could easily be at 20 rushing touchdowns already. He's MVP. He's MVP. No doubt about it.
Should be Barkley.
And we got him next week. God damn it. That's scary.
That's next week, though.
And yes, Philly does have a great secondary. God almighty, dude. Quentin Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, it's just unfair. Reed Blankenship's mad underrated. It's just unfair. Keely Ringo has depth. It's just dirty, dude. It's just, Visuals. Remember in 2020 when Ben had more rushing yards than Barkley? Yes, I do. Actually.
Yeah, his first game back, that Monday night game, yeah.
Yeah, that was, Cam Hayward had to pick that game, man. That was a weird game.
Uh-huh.
That was funny. That was funny, man. Are y'all streaming early for the Christmas game? I don't know yet. I can't give you a definitive answer.
Honestly, we're still undecided about that one.
Mostly might just spend the day with family. Because it's a family holiday, and, it's just... I'd rather just spend it with family. We're still going to watch the game, obviously. We'll still be live after the game.
I may not break the turkey if the Chiefs and the refs, I should say, help them out in that one.
Don't give me anything expensive, because money will be wasted that day. Something will get broken. If you're going to give me anything for Christmas, give me a new TV, because the one we'll be watching the game on might be damaged. If you're going to give me anything for Christmas, give me a TV.
What are you saying, me?
Of course. Who else am I talking to?
You want me to buy you a TV?
Fucking right.
Who the hell do you think I am?
The TV man.
No. No, I'm not. How the hell would I hide it? First of all, you just expect me to leave it outside come Christmas Eve? Then just bring it outside like, hey, here you go. Like, here's the TV. Merry Christmas. There you go. Thanks for bringing the TV.
I don't know.
Like, I ain't getting you no TV. I ain't getting you no TV, dude. TV's fine. Just don't break it.
Fine.
Break a beer glass or something. I don't care.
Wait, what? 10 a.m.? The game at 10?
Is that in your area?
Pacific time?
Is that in your area?
Yeah,
'Cause that is
over,
early.
over in the West Coast.
That is early. I mean, the game's at is that
1.
1 o'clock? Yeah.
Yeah, 1 on
Damn.
Christmas. Game is being talked about as battle at the first seed. Probably will be. As long as the Steelers keep winning, that's going to be huge.
And it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Hopefully there's no buffering issues.
There shouldn't be.
Last thing I need. Russell Wilson, shots back, throws deep, George Pickett. 99
And then you
in the
see that
circle.
screen. Yeah, like no, we don't need on that. Or the feed would freeze, but you would just hear the audio.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't see it.
Mahomes drops back. Rashawn Slater, or what's his name? Not Rashawn Slater. Jawan Taylor. That one. Is that his name?
Yeah, Mr. False Start.
Yeah, Mr. False Start. Patrick Mahomes drops back. Jawan Taylor. Can't contain TJ, and he is set. Where's the strip sack? I don't know. I didn't see it. Fucking Netflix. They better fix their thing, man.
They should be well prepared. Yeah.
He got you the Steelers title belt. Yeah, I did. That was last year.
Yeah, you did give me that. Yeah, it's right there.
Yup.
Yeah, it's up in the background.
I just hope the refs don't Jesse James us for the Chiefs game. The refs are going to be in the Chiefs' pockets, man. The NFL is not going to not have the Chiefs be one of the top teams. That game is going to be rigged upon rigged. Thing is going to be as scripted as.
Again, the NFL knows what they're doing. They knew what they were doing when they scheduled this schedule right here. When they put it out.
Oh, yeah.
On some Walter White bullshit. They were cooking.
Where can I get a title belt? eBay.
eBay, or if you want to buy the actual one, WWEshop.com, they have NFL exclusive. They still do, but they're like 500.
That's why I go to eBay. That's why I go to eBay. eBay's always in my back pocket. The amount of Christmas gifts I get on eBay, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. If something's on back order or out of stock, eBay's always got my back. Remember when eBay was the only place people could shop online before Amazon went off?
Yeah, now you got like Amazon,
Temu
and Wish. God
is
knows
Wish still a
what.
thing?
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like Wish is the new MySpace or something. Or Wish is the MySpace
or
of shopping.
Is Temu the new Wish?
Temu's the new Wish.
Is it?
But Wish feels like
I never bought off Temu.
Wish feels like the MySpace of shopping sites. Like it's there, but like in the past. I never had a MySpace, by the way.
No.
Never did.
Always a Facebook, but not a MySpace.
Good news is our defense is too good to be the reason we lose when usually it's the offense. That's fair. Typically, yeah, it is the offense.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's really the offense that has to win us the game. So, I mean, maybe that's the case again this Sunday versus the Browns, man. Eagles are scared of the team. The Chiefs are afraid of the refs. I mean, the Chiefs ain't got no fear for the refs. The Chiefs, man, they got the refs in their pockets. Damn. Yeah, that's my fear for that game, man. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that's not the case, but that's my fear. Is that it's gonna be hella rigged. First of all, the refs haven't been on our side in weeks. Weeks. And now that game coming up in a couple weeks. I'm terrified. I'm more terrified of the refs than I am the Chiefs, let's be honest.
The refs you got to watch out for.
Exactly.
Not even Pat Mahomes or Andy Reid at that.
George Brady, Tomlin Coach of the Year. He should be in heavy consideration.
If there's a season for him to win it, it is this year.
But it's not going to be this year. Not when Dan Campbell is leading the Lions to the number 1 seed. And
11 straight wins at that.
And the Vikings with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell.
Dude,
the Vikings are what, 9-2?
If we're going by logic here, okay? If we're going by logic, Kevin Stefanski won it last year because he led Joe Flacco. He led
called
the Browns.
Joe Flacco off the couch.
Yeah, and they made a playoff berth. The Vikings
they were
are good.
What? Hold on. They were what? 12-5?
I don't know.
Something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All I remember is they went one and done, hilariously. But, nah. Last year, Kevin Stefanski won it because he had Joe Flacco as his quarterback. Well, if you're going by that logic, Kevin O'Connell should win it since he has Sam Darnold as his quarterback.
I mean, basically.
If we're going by logic. Who should win it? I think Campbell should win it. Then Tomlin. Then O'Connell. To be honest with you. That would be my order. I don't think Tomlin's ever going to win it, though. Should it be in consideration? Yes. Yes, I think he should. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens, man. With that being said, it is 1:06 in the morning, man. So we still appreciate you guys, man, staying strong and watching us this entire time. So appreciate you guys for joining us for the live, for the Steelers versus Browns game day preview, and always, as fun as it is, just interacting with the chat and talking about whatever, man. Regarding the team, regarding whatever, or anything, man. It's always fun. So appreciate you guys for joining us as always. You guys know we'll be live this Sunday for the Steelers versus Browns game. I'm going in feeling the exact same way I did the last two divisional matchups versus the Ravens and the Bengals. I hate this team. I'm bitter about that loss. I want to go in. I want to get a dub. And frankly, I just want to beat the living shit out of this team. I just don't like them. So, Steelers, man, I'm very confident they can walk out with a dub. I'm very confident that they're going to go in feeling different, thinking different, attacking different, executing, preparing different. I have all the trust in the world the Steelers will do what they got to do necessary to get the job done. They handle business, as what Tomlin says. They get a victory, remain strong, remain at the top of the AFC North.
Raise hell in December, man.
Raise hell in December, man. It's been a while since we have, so feels good to kind of get back in the groove of things, man. So first week, good. Second week versus the Browns.
Keep at it.
Keep at it. Let's get revenge, and let's beat the Cleveland Browns. Beat those Browns and flush them down the toilet where they belong. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining us thank you guys for joining us as always. Thank you guys for watching. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us this live stream again. Take advantage of all those great perks that they offer. The 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, up to $2,000, and 125% on your next two deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today, plus all those wagers that they have for season awards all the week 14 and every other week for the rest of the season. So if you guys are looking for a new sportsbook, BetUS has you guys covered, man. So appreciate them for sponsoring with us. Appreciate you guys for watching. And at the end of the day, here we go, Steelers. Beat the Browns, and we'll see you guys this Sunday for the game, man. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy energy. Can't wait to see you guys there, man. Here we go, Steelers. You guys have a great rest of your night. Have a good weekend, and see you guys Sunday, man. Here we go.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!